Okay. Check. Check. Might make us a little. Okay, we're going to have feedback. It's maybe, I don't know where that's coming out of. Curtis, is that your computer? I'm not sure how we. Sorry, we're having audio issues, folks, if it's not clearly evident. Is there a way we can turn down that audio or maybe use subtitles, Curtis? Hello. That's better. Okay. And okay, so if you need to get a hold of us or Curtis online and we're not seeing you, just start waving your hands like a maniac. Okay, so anyway, welcome everybody to the January 9th neighborhood board meeting of Diamond Head, Kapahulu, St. Louis Heights. First meeting of 2025. I hope everybody had a nice holiday season and Happy New Year to you all. I hope this is a year filled with a lot of good that we seek and aloha for everyone. I am current chair Winston Welch, and I am happy to begin this meeting with our public safety reports starting.
Chair
I don't know
Welch,
if we have anyone here from the Honolulu Fire Department.
Chair Welch,
And
can you hear me?
if not, and we don't have someone, I do want to express
Chair
our
Welch?
sincere condolences as a board for the loss of firefighter Jeffrey Fiala in Mo'iliili and Macaulay area. It's a tragedy, and it just reminds us that these folks are putting their lives on the line for all of us every day, and we sincerely appreciate the work that they do. And with that, if the fire department comes later, otherwise we will move on to Honolulu Police Department, District 6, Waikiki, Kapilani Park, Diamond Head.
Chair Welch, can you hear me?
Good afternoon, good evening. Hello, my name is Lieutenant Cyrus Hanuna. That is Sergeant John Amarat. We're from District 6, Waikiki. The stats for this month are robberies.
Can you speak up just a little bit?
Robberies, we had 7 last month. We had 2 this month. Burglaries, we had 7 last month, 10 this month. Thefts, which is felony thefts, 179 previously, 98 this month, and this month means December. UEMVs, which is basically somebody's car getting broken into, 29 last month, 14, well, 29, and then 14 last month. Assaults, 35, and then 46. Sex crimes, we had
Yay.
5, and then 2 last month. Like skateboards on sidewalks, we had 17 the previous month, 0 this month. Speeding, we had 7 the previous month, we had 21 this month. Parking, we had 2,112, and this previous month we had 2,135. Loud muffler, prohibited noises, we had 1 and 0. Park closures, we had 92 citations and 11 arrests the previous month. This last month we had 102 citations and 13 arrests. We had this last month we had 4,320 calls for service.
Hey, thank you. Are there questions for District 6? Any folks here in person? Go ahead, Laura.
Aloha, thank you for coming. There was an accident last month around the Noella and Paki area. Is that your district or do I?
Ours. That's District 6, yes.
So should I wait?
No, that's ours.
Oh, that
that's
is,
ours. Yes,
okay.
that's ours.
So there was an accident. There were some pedestrians last month, and it's really frustrating. People are driving crazy and you're already busy. But in our neighborhood, people are asking people to slow down all the time. and people are in the crosswalk and sometimes they don't even acknowledge the drivers. They just keep driving right on through. So I don't know what we can do about it, but I just wanted you to know on Leahi by Waikiki Elementary School, we see a lot of this in the morning.
Oh, during this, when the kids are going to school?
Yeah,
Okay, okay.
yeah.
Okay, well, we actually work daytime, so I think, did school start back up yet? I'm not sure if they started already.
Yeah, it
They
did
okay.
today.
They did today, okay, yeah.
Yeah.
So, we'll see if we can get something on it, or get some kind of enforcement, or maybe show up there for a couple of days and then maybe give some warnings and see if we can get some enforcement over the next week or so.
Thank you.
No problem.
Okay, and other questions for District 6 in person or online? Okay, and seeing none, anyway, thank you very much, sir.
Thank you.
And we have perhaps District 7, Diamond Head, Kapahulu, St. Louis Heights online. Looks like Lieutenant Nishimura.
Yes, good evening. Lieutenant Nishimura from
You're on mute.
HPD District 7. Excuse me. These are the statistics for the month of motor vehicle theft 12, burglary 6, theft 12, UEMV 10, car breaking. I'm sorry, total calls for service was 5,865. And our safety tip of the month is just what we were talking about just a second ago for pedestrian tips and driver safety tips. For pedestrians, please use marked crosswalks. So if you're crossing the street, and established and marked check you cross. And this is very important. Yield to approaching vehicles while crossing, even if you have the right of way. For drivers, please stay focused and alert for pedestrians. Stop for pedestrians in a crosswalk. You can't emphasize that enough. I know people have places to go and they're trying to get there, but when someone's in a crosswalk, please stop. Look out for pedestrians who may be hidden from view by other vehicles that may have stopped. And please obey the speed limits and never drive under the influence of drugs or alcohol. That's our report for the month. Thank you.
Thank you, Lieutenant Nishimura. And I think we have a couple questions for you. Yes, Laura?
I just have one comment that happened at Kaiwana Beach over the weekend. A woman was held up and her car was taken and she called 911 and they had her car back within 1 minute. So cheering.
Are there other questions for District 7, Lieutenant Nishimura, online or in person? Okay, and seeing none, thank you very much, Lieutenant Nishimura.
Thank you very much. Have a great evening.
You too. We do have a vacant seat, board seat here for Subdistrict 3, which is the Diamond Head, Kapilani Park area. Is there anybody who, Curtis, anybody contact you? Okay, we do have a person here who I guess you've already gone through embedded. Okay, so would you like to introduce yourself and tell us, why you're interested in serving on the board and whatnot?
My name is Samuel Rosman. I live on Tuole Circle. I was speaking to Margaret Murchie over the holidays, and she brought up you have a vacancy, and I thought it would be just something that I could contribute to the community and, help out.
And can you tell us your name again? I didn't quite hear that.
Samuel Rosman, SAMOROZ, as in zebra, MAN.
Okay. Are there any others who are interested did you get that?
Mr. Chair, I believe there is one other interested person, but I
Okay,
don't
and we
know
have
if he's-
another fellow a gentleman who's interested. And could you spell out your name again once more? Because it was a little hard to hear.
SAMOROZMAN.
Samo Rosman.
Correct.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. And we have others who are interested in serving on District 1. Yep, come on up and Please tell us your name and why you'd like to be on the board.
My name is Kendrick Wong, and I live in the Diamond Head, Coconut, and Diamond Head Road area. I got involved because I helped the Diamond Head Neighborhood Board to draft the resolution for traffic calming measures on Diamond Head Road. And I've lived in the Diamond Head area for about 20 years. I grew up in Manalani Heights and Kapahulu. And so this is like my neighborhood. I went to Kaimiki Christian, and then I went to Punahou. And then anyway, I always aspired to live in this beautiful neighborhood. So my big concern is safety and the environment of this wonderful place. And when I moved here 20 years ago into this neighborhood, like you could walk along Diamond Head Road and it,
Sound cut out.
Who cut the sound off?
We didn't really hear what he had to say because there's no sound.
I guess they can't hear us either.
I can hear you.
Oh, good. Well,
And I can hear you, but maybe they can't.
Yeah.
Can you hear me?
Yep.
Oh, thank you.
Yes.
hear us. I don't think they've been able to hear it started.
Really?
I think Secretary Boydell was trying to, speak.
Yeah. Wave. But maybe they can't hear us. I don't think they can hear us. He must have hit the mute button on his side, or one of those buttons
hear
that cuts out the sound.
Can somebody call one of the board members that are present in the clubhouse on their phone right now and tell them
I
we
will.
can't hear you?
I'll text Arlene.
Winston, there's no sound from the meeting room. We couldn't hear the candidate. We can't hear the remote speakers. Hope you pick this up. You're down.
But just could hear him in the background.
Can you hear us, Margaret?
I heard that. Can you hear me?
Online, you can hear us?
I heard it. Can you hear
We
me?
cannot hear the people in the room, but we can hear everybody online.
Okay, we've got,
Yeah, they had people
So
muted
we
for a
missed
bit there.
everything that Kenton had to say.
We missed half of what he was saying.
Yeah.
do you think only that mic is working? Can you hear
Testing
me, Dr.
one.
Rachel?
Amanda thinks that it was from the beginning when David was waving his hand.
Chair Welch, I can hear you now on that mic.
Yeah, we can hear you.
You can hear me now, David?
Yes, I can. Can you hear me?
Okay, then I think we just need to go back to our two folks that are interested in filling the chair because they couldn't hear us online. So
We heard
Samuel,
the
if you
first
would
We heard
come
the
up again
first
and
one.
speak
We heard the
loudly and
first one.
clearly into the mic, maybe you want to adjust it upwards as well. We have two folks that are interested in filling seat number 3, and my apologies, we got some AV problems, but they just are come with the territory.
Chair Welch, we heard
Sure.
Samuel.
My name is Samuel Rosman. I was born into the place where I'm actually living at now. My mom bought it back in the 70s, and I pretty much lived on this side of the island most of my entire life. I was a little bit in Europe because of family stuff, but I always came back to Hawaii. And I was speaking to Margaret Murtry over the holidays, and she said, you have an open board position. And I thought that it was a good way to contribute back to my community and help out in any way that I can.
Okay, thank you. David, could you hear that?
I heard that. We could hear him the first time too. It cut out, the sound cut out in the middle of Kenrick's.
In the middle of Kendrick's. Okay. Well, we didn't go back too far. And Kendrick, if you could come up again and say what you just said. I'm not sure why you cut out in the middle.
Kendrick Wong. I think some of you already know me here, but I live in the Coconut Avenue area on the Gold Coast, and I lived here about 20 years and grew up in Kapahulu and Wilhelmina Rise, and went to school in this area as well. And I wanted to get involved in the keeping the neighborhood safe, as well as the environment, maintaining the environment of our beautiful neighborhood and the safety of everybody walking and running and swimming here. I did help to assist in drafting the resolution that got approved by the neighborhood board for the traffic calming mitigation for Diamond Head Road in the last year and a half. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Kendrick. Are there any other folks in person or online who are interested in filling this seat? And Michelle, go ahead.
Oh, I'm sorry. I was trying to reach you because of the sound problem. I hope we don't have that problem again. But I would like to mention also that unfortunately I'd planned to be there tonight, but something came up, and I've received concerns that those present at the board meeting in the clubhouse or where the board meetings are held cannot see those online, and those online cannot see the speakers because their backs are turned. So we should have, and I'm glad to see the board tables on the floor instead of on the stage this time. We should have some way of having these speakers closer to the board table so that all can be seen online. And unfortunately, my camera
okay,
isn't working,
Thanks,
so
Michelle. I think our
apologize.
friends from Olelo are turning the camera towards the speakers, so you should be able to see that. And I think if Curtis makes it, I don't know, everybody, a lot of little different cubes for everybody to, what is it, the gallery view or whatever it is, we should be able to see you as well online. But
Well,
while he
additionally,
was checking just a minute ago, he did not have all of your photos up, so we couldn't see David moving his hands.
Okay, I also, the sound is not good when the backs are turned. I'm not sure what's going on, but this has happened previously. So I just want to make sure that there is some
Oh, I think Samo
coordination.
had a mask on, so it maybe looked like his back was turned, but it was a mask. So do I have a nomination for Samo Rosman or Kendrick Wong to fill the
I
seat?
nominate Kendrick.
Okay. Is there
I
a second?
nominate Samo.
No second needed. Okay. And is there a nomination for Samo? Margaret Murchie. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And any other nominations? Yes, ma'am. She's nominating Samo. So if that is all, then we will close the nominations and ask Curtis to call the roll. Thank you.
All right, so this is for the vacant sub-district 3 seat. If you could please state the name of the person you would like to.
Can you speak up?
Oh, yes, yes. So if you would like to, so board members, please state the name of the person you are voting for. We have 2 candidates, Samo and Kendrick. All right. Starting the roll, Alan.
Kendrick.
Kendrick. Boydell.
Kendrick.
Kendrick. David. Decker. Absent. Hasina. Absent. Khan. Absent. Knight.
Kendrick.
Kendrick. Matson.
Kendrick.
Kendrick. Murchie.
Kendrick.
Kendrick. St. Dennis.
Kendrick.
Velasco.
Kendrick.
Kendrick. Welch.
Kendrick.
Kendrick. Witzel or Weitzel. Absent. Bruce Wong. Absent. And Linda Wong.
We can't hear again.
Who would you like to vote for?
I would like to know the
This one.
count first.
The count is 8 for Kendrick. 8 for Kendrick.
And how many for Samuel?
0 for Samo.
Oh, well, it's already been decided it's Kendrick, so I'll vote for him.
Okay.
That's 8.
With 9 votes for Kendrick, Kendrick has been nominated to fill the vacant sub-district 3 seat. Congratulations. And we'll call a quick recess for swearing in.
Okay, we'll call a quick recess, but I want to thank both Kendrick and Samo for stepping up. And just as a reminder to everybody, if you want to be on this neighborhood board, it's in our agenda. You need to fill out your paperwork and submit it by sometime in early February. So more the merrier, and having some competition is good. So thank you for stepping up. And there's plenty of committee seats that we could use your help on as well. So we'll call a short recess and have Kendrick sworn in and then come back in a couple minutes.
6:33 recess, starting now.
Rick, and let's see, after this, we have our public interest reports and event announcements here, starting with our Board of Water Supply, Kathleen Pahinui. I saw you online, Kathleen.
Aloha. Thank you, Chair. Aloha. Happy New Year, board members. We did have one main break in the month of December on the 3rd at 1992 St. Louis Drive. It was an 8-inch pipe. And again, we just want to encourage people to make water conservation a New Year's resolution and, keep up the good work. We did well last year. We want to keep that going. An update on the Diamond Head fencing project. We ran into some problems. It turned out the terrain was rockier than we thought it was. So we had to put in a change order for the contractor, but we're going to recommence this month. And hopefully we should get it completed by the end of January, barring any unforeseen events. The Diamond Head Water System Improvement Project is POW, and we're waiting for final inspection, which will happen later this month. And Montserrat still has not been able to start. We're still waiting for materials. And then finally, Board Member Murchie at the last meeting asked us to check on a leak on Bertram Street. And because she was getting some water leaking over into her property. Board Member Murchie, I know our customer care folks have been in touch with you. And I believe Derek Quinn also reached out again to you today. So if you are still experiencing issues, please contact myself or contact Derek and we will keep working at it for you.
They fixed
And
it
that's my
today.
report.
They fixed it today. There was a leak. As
Yeah, they
suspected.
went out to fix, yeah. But yeah, but if you see anything else, just let us know, please. And that's my
Okay.
report. If there are any questions.
Thank you.
Thank
Are there
you.
any questions for Board of Water Supply? Yes, ma'am.
Hi, Kathleen. This is Arlene.
Hi, Arlene.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
I just wanted to ask if you can give us an update on the, if there's any new update on the PFAS situation in our drinking water and about any of the, if further testing has been done on the plume. I know that there was Ernie were concerned that the plume had been moving westward, and any news on that?
Okay, so first of all, I want to make it clear that we've only found PFAS, not that it's not a good thing. I'm not trying to minimize it, but I want to make it clear we found PFAS only, I believe, in about 8 wells towards the west of the island. And almost all of those, it was a one hit and then we never saw it again. So PFAS does move through the water very quickly. We are, however, looking at measures, especially in the Aiea Halava area, to deal with that, where we did find it, because as we know, we're also low on water resources out there. So we also have undertaken a study on PFAS to look at remediation opportunities. It's not going to be simple or easy, but we are talking to various and sundry consultants, and hopefully we'll have a report by the end of this year or early next year that we will be able to share with the public on what we're planning on doing. The hit of PAH that we found in Aiea, we did not see it a second time when we went back and tested. Again, we test weekly all of those wells around the Red Hill area. We have not found it again, but Ernie still is asking for an extensive network of monitoring wells. We are putting in about 5 or 6 of our own, and they're well on their way. Several of them are already being dug. And as soon as we get those in, we will be doing more testing and putting those results up online as we always do. So I hope that answers your question.
Yes, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Are there any other questions for Board of Water Supply? You see any online, Curtis, or? Okay. Thank you very much, Kathleen.
Aloha. Have a nice evening.
You too. And I don't know if I saw Dean Hoshiko online from KCC. No, Carol Hoshiko. Oh, there you are. Okay, go ahead. Do you have anything for us tonight, Dean Hoshiko? We saw your face for a minute there. You there, Carol? Okay, yeah, you're not muted, but no sound coming out. Okay, we'll do some chat. I guess tonight is the night of technical difficulties, so it happens sometimes. Other than that, I'll go on, and if we have Dean Hushko coming later, we can come back to her. But there is a resident participation for the Honolulu Annual Community Survey carried out by the city auditor. There's a link in the agenda. It's a very extensive questionnaire and asks you everything about how you feel about how the city is doing, what we need more of, less of, all of that. I'd encourage all residents to take that. The link is in the agenda or on Honolulu's city website. Carol, are you back yet? Okay. If you are, then maybe we can hear from you after we have no resolutions tonight, so we'll move on to a presentation. Say it again. Oh, did I skip that? Oh, thank you. That's why you have this sharp people right next to you. Surround yourself with smarter people, folks. That's the key. Public and community concerns, event announcements, open forum. So this is 2 minutes for each public open testimony regarding topics or issues not listed elsewhere on the agenda in order to enable public open comments and questions for the board. So are there any public concerns and events announcement at this forum? And just an FYI, we will be having a meeting, a committee meeting on for the issues that are listed under Anton Krukie's portion, which is we're going to have 2 committee meetings. One will be for about the Parks Department and the issue of Leahi Park and Makale Park. That will be a separate committee meeting that we will have with the Parks Department. If you're interested in being at that meeting, then please see me or Curtis. You could email or contact one of us either after this meeting or by email. The other is for Department of Transportation Services. There's a number of issues for DTS, and the director asked that we put that into a committee. One of them I've asked as well for Kaimuki's board to hold a joint meeting with us as well for the bus route. And so that's going to be its own discrete meeting if you're interested in that. We just need a head count so we can make sure that everybody can be accommodated who is reasonably interested in that. And that will most likely take place at DTS headquarters, which is kind of where Kapiolani and I guess it's Kings Street split. So it's one of those high rises. Otherwise, let's go on to community concerns. If you have one, please come to the mic. And yeah, if you have a concern also about either of those topics, feel free to talk about them now so that we're sure to, get them if you can't or unable to go to the committee meeting.
Yeah, it's
Point
actually
of
just a
order,
clarifying
Mr. Chair.
question on the committee meetings. Will DTS be invited to the DPR meeting for Makale Beach Park?
Yes, we can invite them to the Makale Beach Park. Yes.
Okay, would this be the proper time to request this or?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay, so can I request that
Certainly.
DTS be present?
Yes.
Okay. So yeah, that's what I'm here for. I don't know if this will come up in the agenda later. Can I speak towards that, or is there any additional thing I can do?
Yeah, I think it's fine. Just speak about it now because
Okay.
DTS isn't going to be.
Yeah, I just want to respect the time
Yeah,
of the
sure.
agenda.
Go ahead.
That's correct. So yeah, and also I just wanted to take the time to thank all of you and on the board for passing the resolution last time. That was so I just wanted to say thank you. I was just right there at Makale Beach Park before coming here, and to my clocking, there was 16 mopeds and 1 motorcycle. So if that parking lot is built, that would mean effectively that the entrance of Makale Beach Park would be blocked, because the area that's been zoned would fit at best 5 to 7 mopeds. So imagine the 10 other motorcycles would just be at the entrance of Makale Beach Park. And that's just, the ADA concern, or if an emergency vehicle would try to come in to address a situation in the park, they'd be unable. And of course, we're not talking about the environmental issues and the traffic concerns that we've brought up in the past. And so this is what I was going to say, is if we could just please have a follow-up meeting, because this, the DPR, from my knowledge, just tried to build this really as a park maintenance, and there was no conversation about it. So I'm hoping that this resolution can translate in us having the conversation with DPR, of course, but DTS, because to my concern as well, I'm obviously very aligned with the general traffic calming measures that concern Diamond Head Road. And for me, I see this as a traffic calming measure as well. To build a parking lot inside of Makalei is just another way to bring additional traffic that's dangerous at a location that everybody, including DPR, agrees is not an appropriate place to park a vehicle right there. Just to make sure I've addressed everything here. So yeah, as well as, we'd love to have that meeting to make sure we get all the information concerning if there are any plans concerning that parking lot, as well as getting the traffic study that was done. We never actually received the data itself. I think it'd be important. We've kind of been given what the conclusion were, but we'd like to see it for ourselves. That's it. Really what we're asking the park is to not take any actions and keep our park a park. Because Makalei Beach Park is a park, not a parking lot. So thank you, and I appreciate you putting forward this committee meeting as well as inviting DPR and DTS.
And can you give us your name for the record?
It's Alexi Druin. I've lived at Makalei Beach Park for almost 11 years now.
Okay, thank you, Alexi, and for everything you've advocated for on this. And I did see that Department of Parks and Rec Director Thielen is here, and she did ask for some time to speak during Anton Krucky's time. So she might have a brief update for us, but that will not be in lieu of a meeting with the Parks Department.
Okay, so that will be separate where in that place we can have
I think that
which I also think is the proper venue to have that conversation and to find a positive resolution to this issue. So thank you.
Thank you. And
Mr. Chair.
Linda, go ahead.
Mr.
Thank
Chair.
you. Is this on? Okay, thank you. I would like to request that we get the traffic study before the meeting so we can look it over, so we can have our comments ready before the meeting.
Okay.
Mr. Chair, can you hear me or am I muted?
We can hear you.
May I speak when it's my turn, please?
Sure. Go ahead.
Thank you. I agree with Linda. I think it's imperative that we receive the results of the traffic study. DTS was delayed in completing that, but it was completed earlier last year. And I would like to remind you of the email I sent regarding the Sunshine Law. Our committee meetings are publicly noticed meetings. They are open to the public. So having a meeting in a back room with a department, with staff or somebody, that does not work for our public committee meetings. And this is a very critical issue because of the traffic safety issues, the special interest issues in monopolizing the park, and accessibility issues for the regular recreational users of the scenic byway area. Thank you.
Thank you, Michelle. And yeah, certainly we will publicize a week in advance before the meeting takes place. We're just looking for time, and DTS has just offered their space. If it turned out to be too small because all of you want to come, then we'll have to find a larger space. Franklin?
Franklin Chung, LOY golfer from decades. The news is out that the driving range will be shutting down at the end of this month. And the condition of the range is the worst I've ever seen in the last 35 years. I hope that they can do a good job in the renovations, the bridge. I don't know about the energy efficiency part. I would love to see them bring in a better concession vendor or any other operations that would run it better. I mean, the range balls was like $14 and the match was real crappy and there's no grass on the range. Another question I have is we see that at the entrance of the golf course, that the area that was used as a parking area for equipments and trucks and all that stuff is cleared out. I believe that's part of Parks and Recreation, not Enterprise Services. And what's the plan for that area? If anybody can help me with, I don't know, Ms. Thielen?
That, or Director Crucky might be able to get to that when.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, the area that is all cleared out by now. Yeah.
Okay, yes, and just to let you know, Franklin, that, yeah, they are canceling the concessionaire, and they're looking for information right now about how they want to bid that out again, but the county shared your assessment of the conditions right now. So are there other folks online or in person who have a concern? Yes, sir, Samo.
Yeah, my concern is about Wyndham Street between Ohio and Honolulu, where it kind of narrows and has like the one building that always has parked cars in front of it. And then there's parked cars on the right side too. And it's pretty much only one lane for an effective length. And we had a cat run in front of my godfather's car, and we couldn't really do anything. It was either hit the cat, hit the car, or hit the car. So, I mean, something needs to be done with just that short block with the parking on both sides.
Are you saying between Honolulu and Mo'oheo?
Yes.
Yes, it's on Wynum.
Yeah.
It's a terribly dangerous area. It's a
Yeah,
tiny,
it's really-
short distance where the road narrows, suddenly constricts. And yeah, I witnessed my neighbor get run over around the corner, literally run down because it's such a dangerous area. And that's something we should bring up with DTS.
Yeah.
So,
And then the second thing, I don't know if it's an issue that can be brought up here, but I noticed that certain landscaping crews, I saw one guy just spray sides and then have a guy come like 2-3 minutes later with a blower blowing everything into open louvers, you know, and that's not really healthy for anyone in the area. So if that could be, you know, something that can be regulated or taken a look at.
was that on a sidewalk or a street or?
No, that was on one of my neighbor's properties where I was walking around. It was on certain properties with certain landscaping crews. They just have guys with blowers come and, you know, clean all the leaves and the grass and everything off. And then there's people who have pesticides that come, you know, around that time and blow it into people's houses.
That's a good question. And
Can I comment?
go ahead.
Thank you. Per the leaf blowing law and now the weed whackers, which got added to the leaf blowing law this past session, you're not allowed to blow a leaf blower within 100 feet of a window. So call the police. I would. Thank you. I have.
Okay, thank you, Samo. Are there any folks online?
Pardon me.
or in
If you
person?
give me your email, I will send you the statute.
You see anybody, Curtis?
Yep. Laura Ruby.
Okay, Laura?
Yes. Good evening, Chair. I just, first of all, would like to thank you for the Diamond Head Board for passing the resolution on the full EIS for the canal proposed bridge. Right now, we are have a petition out on change.org. I hope you'll all sign it. I'm going to put it in the chat, and it just, all you have to do is just type in NLY Bridge and it will come up and you can sign in. We're also looking for, we're just ready to have letters to be sent out to organizations and also individuals to join in a possible environmental court suit for this full EIS. And remember, an EIS is just asking for more information and analysis. It's not asking for anything, specific to, take down or put up or whatever. But it's investigative. And so I'll put that in the chat with my email. And the other thing is, I also did request that the chair would invite the Army Corps of Engineers to come, because that is the missing puzzle piece that apparently, and I'm guessing that DTS is talking to the Army Corps of Engineers, but I we'd like to say it's collusion or something, because why did publicly Roger Morton say that they're going to marry the two together? Well, what does that mean? It means that all of us community members are being left out, basically, whatever is happening. And so we need to have some accountability. And since I feel all four of the neighborhood boards signed on to resolutions, that it's important that there's full disclosure on whatever's going on. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Laura. And yeah, before I forget, I'll ask Director Crucky maybe to address that either now or later. But I had heard that perhaps the Army Corps' current project that we had all been hearing about is effectively been withdrawn. But that's a question for Director Crucky, and he may have to shop that through the city to find that out. And Michelle, you have
Yes, there is a rule that when comments, concerns, questions, answers are requested to be reflected in the record, i.e. the written minutes. If that is requested, that needs to be done, and I am requesting that Mr. Druin's comments regarding the Makalei Beach Park Diamond Head Road issue be written into the minutes and not just said there, not just referred to as comments, questions, and concerns followed, because nobody understands what that means and they don't take the time to look it up. So please, that is my request under the regulations to have that in the minutes. Thank you.
Thank you. Curtis can take care of that. And is there anybody else? Oh, Daisy. Okay, go ahead, Daisy.
Thanks, Chair. My question has to do with the city's refuge trucks. They're breaking down again. My neighbor's trash bin got totally damaged. The good news is that the next day, that department replaced with a new bin, but the mechanics for the trucks are really acting up. So we do need to have better trucks. Because I don't know if we're the only ones, or I'm sure other neighborhoods have experienced the same thing. And two, regarding the new handy vans that the city just purchased, I heard there's 29 more to come. It's not really serving the people that really need the handicap, who have trouble getting upstairs, because from what I understand, instead of the lift, they go up on a platform. The next step is 8 inches high. A lot of people in Hawaii are not tall like on the mainland for the Caucasians. So apparently there's a blind person that stumbled on the stairs, not once, but twice. So the city needs to take someone that has the handicap to show that this is what is good for us, what is not good for us, and not what the salesperson says. So that's a big concern for the people using the handyman system. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Daisy. And if you could, would you be able to send that to Director Morton? I'm sorry, yeah, Director Morton, and maybe copy Director Crucky.
Okay, sure, not a problem. Thank you.
Are there any other folks with community concerns or event announcements that we might have missed?
Sure.
Cheryl?
Chair Welsh and
Are you
members
saying
of the
Carol?
board.
Oh, I'm sorry, Carol. Go ahead, Carol.
Yeah.
I probably you're going to go back and give us an update on KCC.
Yeah, I'm sorry. The connection with the meeting tonight has been kind of poor. So I apologize if you couldn't hear me earlier, and I'm not going to turn my video on just in case that's a problem. But I just wanted to let you know, I put in the chat so I don't have to rehash what I said earlier and take up more time. I would just like to have that reflected in the minutes, that I gave a brief report about the CIP and then some classes that we're running at the college. Okay, and I apologize for whatever end the poor connection is.
Okay, we see there's going to be a Zumba class and restaurant completed later and other things in the chat. And maybe if you could,
Yes.
Curtis, we can
Okay.
specifically request those also be put in the meeting minutes. Okay, thank you.
Yes, okay, thank you very much.
And are there any other folks online or in person?
Yes, I did raise my hand.
Cheryl. Okay, Cheryl. Oh, I'm sorry. So I did hear Cheryl. Okay, I heard a Cheryl and then I heard a Carol. So go ahead, Cheryl.
Thank you so much for allowing the opportunity to participate in this very important Diamond Head neighborhood community meeting. I just wanted to piggyback on what Alexi had to share and throw my support behind all the items that he went through, and also the fact that DTS should absolutely be present when DPR is there because the two intersect on so many levels. I wanted to ask if it was possible if the director of DPR provided some plans. All we've seen so far is some spray paint that some, I guess, staff people came out and put. And then we heard that wasn't going to be the spot. And then we heard there was going to be ballards. And then we heard there wasn't going to be concrete, but some other material. So it would be great if we knew what we were even talking about and what the dimensions and locations were actually, because I feel like it's a moving target. So it's really hard to visualize the impacts if you don't know where it's going to be and how big it's going to be and how close to the walkway it's going to be. So I would just recommend that we could narrow the scope so we knew what we were even talking about, so we could be very, very specific. Also, I wanted to bring up the fact that there was an HPD incident last week. There were 5 patrol cars and EMS there. I was unable to find out what exactly happened. There was a lot of activity at the beach and there were mopeds and people, and without getting in the way of the responders, I don't know what happened. But it just kind of goes to show what's happening at that intersection of Makalei Beach Park and Diamond Head Road. And thank you very much. I appreciate the resolution and I hope it stands. Thank you.
Thank you, Cheryl. Thanks for your comments. Are there any other folks online? I don't see any, or in person. Okay, not seeing any. Thank you, everyone, for your comments. And as I said, we do have Director Thalen here, and she'll speak to some of those things in a moment, I think, but obviously not in lieu of a committee meeting that we'll have. With that, we have one presentation tonight, which is actually at about Makalei Beach Park. It's something completely different, but it's for the storied places Wahipana, and we have Marian Kadora from the Mayor's Office on Culture and the Arts. Hello.
Aloha. I'm not Marian. My name is Ka'ili Trask, and I'm the Executive Director of MOCA, which is the Mayor's Office of Culture and the Arts. I'm going to introduce the Wahipana program, and then I'm going to turn it over to Marian, who will give you some more details. Wahipana is a public art initiative that the Mayor's Office of Culture and the Arts is leading, and it is a initiative funded by the Bloomberg Philanthropies. And through this initiative, we are placing public art through in 11 locations throughout all of Oahu. And these installations, art installations, will tell the stories of the various locations throughout all of Oahu. And one of our main installations will be Le'ahi. And within Le'ahi, we actually have multiple locations. And I'm going to have Marian talk to you about the 2 that affect this neighborhood board. So mahalo for having us today.
Aloha, everyone. Yes. Oh, sorry.
Yeah, the whole rod needs, and then if you can speak as close to the mic as possible.
Sorry. So Curtis, I did send a digital copy. I'm hoping that the folks on Zoom are able to access this as well. So as Ka'ili said, this is a project, a grant project that we received. that we wrote collaboratively with numerous organizations, including OVB, Oahu Visitors Bureau, who's some of their representatives are here with us today to help represent this project. Island-wide project that features different kinds of art. So one of the really exciting things about this project, about Leahi, is that we're working with Brandy Nalani McDougall, that is Hawaii's Poet Laureate for 2023 and 2025. She's a professor at University of Hawaii. And this project is inspired by the idea of Kapahulu, which is to tour, to encircle, to travel, to circuit. So she's really telling a mo'olelo not specifically about Leahi, but about the surrounding sites around Leahi. And she's created a 40 stanza poem that can be accessed online and through audio components on our program digitally. But the physical project takes the form of a glass sign. And the sign is going to be made out of tempered glass that is then etched with selections, excerpts of her poem. And we've identified 4 locations that is on this map, and I'll go over in a moment. But if you do see on the first page that I've given you is kind of an overview of the snapshot of the entire program. The second part is specifically about her poetry, and we have some mock-ups and of these glass signs so you can see what it would look like. And the idea of this is we want people to visit these places with curiosity. And this particular sign is meant to be seen from a particular viewpoint and highlighting unexpected viewpoints of the peak of Leahi that are then embedded with text from her poetry that is telling a layered history, a poetic history of the surrounding areas. So I've just shown 2 examples, one that we're proposing for Makale Beach Park, and another sign that will be, we're proposing for Leahi Beach Park. These signs are fairly, substantial structures. We're working with engineers to ensure that they're going to be structurally sound. And the size of them is 9 feet tall. So we'll ensure that they're being placed in locations that won't interfere with the recreation activities of these locations. The other thing is that we have a maintenance program that we will ensure that they're being maintained. If there's any kind of graffiti, the graffiti would be removed and taken care of almost immediately. But one of the reasons why the structures are fairly tall is what we have found is that the larger structures generally are not as desirable to vandalize. So we're really excited about this project to work with a poet in public space and to tell different of Leahi. And I don't know if Kat, we can go into Q&A, but we also have representatives from OVB here as well.
Representatives from?
Oahu Visitors Bureau, who are one of our partners on this project.
Okay.
Aloha kako. My name is Noela Nishaling-Wheeler. I'm the Executive Director of the Oahu Visitors Bureau and also part of this district. And so my home is up here as well, up in Wa'ahila, St. Louis. We were very excited when the city and county proposed this project. and won the grant with Bloomberg Philanthropists because it allows us also to really talk about these very sacred places around Oahu and really provide our visitors, but more importantly too, our community and our residents with an understanding of how important these spaces are and the mo'olelo behind them. So we're very, very excited that we're able to do that with Native Hawaiian contemporary artists. And being able to elevate our own community and our own people in their perspective in a contemporary art manner. You know, I think here in Hawaii, we have some tremendous artists, but they don't get the recognition. And this is one aspect and one way of being able to do this with these spaces. These installations are not here forever. They're just 3 years, and they are going to be in phases. And the ones we're proposing today here around Mount Leahi is in the phase 1. So I just wanted to share that for us, it's not only about because we're one of a number of stakeholders with the Oahu Visitors Bureau. It is about community. It is about being able to bring that pride of these wahipana spaces and their mo'olelo to both community and visitors so that they have a better appreciation, respect for where we come from and who we are. So a little bit mahalo.
Okay, and do we have some questions for our presenters tonight?
Yes, this is Arlene Velasco. I have a question as to, you gave us a height. What about the width?
The width is 3.5 feet long. And I'm happy, and I should have included in here, but I'm happy to send the drawings to you guys as well, so you can see the full scale.
My other comment is that I know for a fact that Leahi Park has some major erosion issues going on. And right now, you know, half of the park is blocked off with the chain link fence. So where would this sign go?
We are identifying locations, and all of the erosion will be in consideration as well. But Leahi Beach Park, we did do a site visit with our contractors and artists, and there's numerous places that we could potentially do it that will be safe.
All right, thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
And other questions for our presenters?
Oh, over here.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. You know, the spread Hawaiiana is a good and appreciate it very much. I have questions though about these two sites because they're very, very small. There's no parking. There's car wrecks there that tear down the front of the whole place. It's problematic with all the mopeds and other people that try to park there. I mean, it's because probably of its specialty and smallness. And it's on a very bad corner where wrecks happen. I would call into question having it there. I really would. Your advocacy is very good, but the selection of these two small beach parks, along with all the other ones that have very much capacity, this one has so many things working against it. And the community there is very active. And I think that you should get the community's feelings also. I don't know if anybody would like to speak on that tonight, but I see it as inviting more problems. Thank you.
I live in the neighborhood right there and go to Makale Beach Park in Leahi all the time. I like this. I mean, I find it kind of cool, and it'll elevate the experience for anybody that visits and educate them as well. I'm always open to public art installations, so I'm excited. I just want to make sure, again, there's lots of there could be lots of vandalism, unfortunately. But then maybe people respect art, so it might not be an issue.
Yes, thank you both for your comments. And as you can imagine, as we've been looking for to identify sites for these installations, there's a lot of to consider, all of which you've brought up. But yes, thank you. We just really want to make this accessible. Our target audience, our visitors, as well as our community. We want to bring public art to our community. We do have a lot of people at these parks, and that's what we want to do. We want to make this a part of their everyday experiences and make it a part of their lives. So thank you. I do acknowledge the challenges. And yes, vandalism is something we've talked a lot about for all of our art installations, but we don't want to have that inhibit us from bringing the art to our community.
I had a question. Thank you for coming tonight, by the way. I know we talked about this, but for this art installation, what was the budget that was given from Bloomberg? And are these, were these only, is it just for a Native Hawaiian perspective of the things on the islands, or are there other areas? So we'll go into the different cultural perspectives around the islands. And I had somebody ask me if MOCA had voted on or approved the various types of, I guess, designs. So there's maybe 3 questions.
Okay. Let me see. The overall budget from Bloomberg, it's $1 million budget. And that budget includes all of the artists, the physical production, the marketing of it. There's just a lot of factors that go into it. In fact, in addition to Oahu Visitors Bureau, we have many other community partners, Pu'onua Society, Bishop Museum, Aupuni Space. It's just really been a year-long collaboration with other community members working on the budget. So that was your first question.
Is it just going to tell the stories of the Native Hawaiian perspective?
Yes, the point is to call out and identify our Native Hawaiian culture and history. And it's really about sharing these stories, the rich history of our culture, of our Native culture, the Hawaiian culture. All of our artists are Native Hawaiians, and they partnered with storytellers and researchers who helped bring the stories to them. And then the artists, through their various forms of art, are interpreting these stories through their art.
So some of the installations will be not just glass, like this.
Correct.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, and then it did go through the MOCA approval process.
Yes. Yeah. So we have a cultural advisory committee that we're working with for this program, and our commission is also a part of the discussions as well. And I would encourage people to go to vadhipana.com to check out the overall program.
Can we get there by going to the Mayor's Commission on MOCA site? Mayor, what's MOCA site? Mayor's.
Yes, there's
Office on Culture and the Arts.
Vadhipana.com is the. Yeah, and we have a QR code on the flyer that we have for you.
Okay, and this will start sometime this year. It'll be installed.
The website is launched, and we have our first phase is February. Our openings are February 19th, 20th, and 21st.
Okay.
For our phase 1 launches.
Okay, very good. Well, if there's some events that are happening, some Oli or blessings or something like that, and you let the board know.
Yes, and we will have it on our website as well. But yes, we will let the board know.
Okay, thank you very much for coming tonight.
Thank you so much.
Okay.
I'd like to ask one more
Yes,
question.
ma'am.
The Bloomberg, is that the man that lives at the site at one of the parks?
Bloomberg Philanthropies from New York.
Pardon?
Bloomberg Philanthropies is in New York.
But is that the same man? Does he live Bloomberg right there at the site?
At the Leahi site?
Yeah.
No.
Or between Leahi and Makalei Park?
No.
There's another donor that does live there.
Oh,
that-
okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Good to know. Thank you.
Sorry, we've got a question online as well, Ms. Trask and Michelle. Michelle and
Who are you
Laura.
calling
okay.
on first, Chair?
Go ahead, Michelle.
Okay. All right. May I would just like to speak in support and echo Linda's comments. They are extremely important to consider. I certainly support Hawaiian history and culture at Leahi, the Diamond Head State Monument. I'm president of the Diamond Head State Monument Foundation. And it's a nonprofit, 501c3. I would like to inquire if you have consulted with the Division of State Parks for these worthy elements to be installed where more people are and more people can access them and learn from them, which would be within the Crater Park. These small mini parks are pedestrian only. Most of the people recreate along Diamond Head Road. The community uses the parks for passive recreation. There are many people who use the beaches. And it appears that this is on the fast track installation in February 19th through 21st. This is the first we've heard about it. The questions are significant because of what we are now going through with the traffic hazards, the inundation of a special interest in these parks for their own purposes. It does not appear, it appears that there have been just separate silos without communication on the collective concerns, public concerns, environmental concerns, and also cultural concerns. I support these immensely, what you're proposing, but I feel these little parks are the wrong place because of the logistics. And I would do everything to support your project within the monument where more people can access and learn from it. But where you're proposing appears to be a way to generate the visitor industry and more mopeds and all kinds of other issues that would cause more work for our police department. Thank you for listening and understanding to these concerns.
Thank you. Thank you. Your concerns are noted. And to answer your question, yes, we did start with the state, and they were not able to accommodate us. So, and as you can imagine, as I was explaining before, finding the right locations for these installations has taken us this long to finalize. And we've worked with Director Thielen's group with Parks and Rec to get approvals, and all of these processes have taken a while. But yes, we did try to get within the state's jurisdiction, but that wasn't feasible.
May I ask who you spoke with? It would be
Sorry, say that
important
again,
to
Michelle.
know. May I ask with whom you spoke at DLNR or state parks? It would be very important to know that because there are specific people who handle these things and they're very well aware of the cultural needs.
Yes, we spoke with DLNR.
I'm asking who at DLNR?
Who was it, Curtis? It was Kurt Cottrell who we spoke with.
Okay, I'll be in touch with Kurt and we'll see what we can do to help you out. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And Margaret?
Hi, I just have I put it in the chat, but I know not everybody sees it, but you had photos of the artists and juxtaposes, well, beside the map, and the artwork is numbered, or the locations are numbered and the artist photos are alphabetical, so it's, did I miss something? Is it me? I'm confused. You know, the What's the
go ahead,
link that
Linda.
you sent in?
Thank you. May I ask that you turn up the feed to the remote viewing? It's hard to hear them.
Oh, I can say it louder.
I- Are you asking which artists match with which location,
Right.
Margaret?
Yeah, it doesn't look like they,
It's very faint on the right side of their name. There's a letter. So, for
but
example,
on
under
the map,
2
they're
4th Street
numbers.
Mall, Carl Powell has a B next to his name. So you match the B with Carl. It's super faint. I had the same question. You see it
Okay,
on the front
yeah.
page. There's where their
All I
names
saw
are.
were numbers and
And then you
alphabetical.
match with their photos down there. And then the photos match with the
Apologies on that. I think is a grayscale for those letters. You can see it click on our website as well if you'd like to look at that.
Okay, I just was checking it out just in case there was an error there.
Thank you. It's vahipana.com.
Okay. And just to, mention what Michelle Matson was saying is that if we knew about this project beforehand, because there's other things that maybe you didn't know about, but that are germane to our area, when MOCA goes in the future, I don't know when you were considering this area in the very beginning, but that ideally just for the future, please let us know as soon as possible. It just, it can feel like a fait accompli a lot with what goes on with the city. And I know that wasn't your intent.
Yeah, absolutely.
But
Understood.
yeah, as much when you're thinking about it, let's involve the community right away, because there might have been another spot where we said, actually, how about this space? This might be a really good space because of its whatever significance. So anyway,
Thank
I
you.
did just want to say that. But otherwise, if there's no other questions or comments.
Laura Ruby.
And Laura Ruby. Okay, we got one more.
Yeah,
Go ahead, Laura.
Sorry, yes. Yeah, thank you. First of all, I agree with most every comment that's been made so far. The Diamond Head Monument Foundation should be a partner in this. And certainly there should be a committee from your particular neighborhood board that should also be on this. I do not recall finding that there was an open call from MOCA for this event of installations. And that really should be open. It seems to be, I don't want to say it this way, only people of Hawaiian ancestry, but there are certainly many other people that are artists that have deep understandings of Hawaiian values and stories. And then there's some other things too. George Kanahele, way back several decades ago, did some sort of surfboard shaped items that were all around the Waikiki area. Perhaps people remember those. And there were storied meanings that were there too. I hope you'd tie in with that. And then there's some conflict that is DTS is thinking they're going to put sort of postage stamp things out there for the supposed bridge project. I think those are conflicts. It would be much better to go through something legitimate. Also, your website, when you open it up at MOCA, you do not get to Vaipana. It doesn't go anywhere. You have to find the Vaipana right there. And then the other thing, just a small technical thing, but it's duplicative to say Mount Leahi. Leahi is La'eahe, the headland, forehead of the fire or fish. And so it's a duplicative, and you don't want to really combine your two languages together. So there's a lot of things there. And just quite frankly, I have to be honest with you, I've done a Diamond Head series that's way over 50 artworks out in the community. And there's many other people that have many other contributions that are in the realm of storied meaning. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you for MOCA and our OVB, right? Office Visitor Bureau's guest for coming tonight. Okay, and with that, I think we are ready to move on to Mr. Crucky. Director Crucky, we invite you to give us any updates on what we've got, and then after that, we can ask Director Thielen.
Thank you, Chair, board members. It's great to be here tonight, and I think it's great here having three directors from the city being here tonight to present to you. It's quite an honor. Great to have Kali'i here, so thank you. We started off the year. It's been a difficult year for the city in many ways. We've had already some very positive events. Eddie ran, and that ran very well, and it was great for the community. And I think we had good coordination of services. And we had a report at cabinet the other day. There were no incidences up there or safety incidences. And considering the waves and everything else, that's very good news. I think we're all aware of the fireworks incidents that happened and the tragicness of that. And then here in McCully with our own fireman, Jeffrey Fiala, him having the roof collapse on him and him passing away is certainly very tragic and very meaningful to all of us in the city, and I think to our citizens as well. I appreciate the comments on the Sunshine Law, and thank you for following the protocol on that, so those meetings can be useful and productive and going forward. So I appreciate that. Going through the mayor's report and his newsletter is here on the ledge. You know, the Eddie, like I said, ran very well. The city also, you've seen a lot in the news about announcing the landfill. And just so you know that we needed to pick a site. There's laws that require us to get to a certain place, and it's a process. I mean, you're going to go through, you know, a lot of debate, a lot of analysis. It's kind of interesting. You have the Board of Water Supply, which is part of the city, having to analyze things, other things that the city are doing. So, you know, we're working all that. There'll probably be a couple permutations in that, but if that's something you're seriously you know, want to be involved in, there will be a lot of opportunities for you to voice your opinion and to express yourself there. The Mayor Blangiardi, he also honored Council Member Calvin Say after nearly 5 decades of public service. Really, it was quite spectacular that, and he's being replaced by Scott Nishimoto, who's here tonight. I saw earlier. Yeah, there he is. And so he's here to be with you as well. I think the Honolulu City Lights celebration was about as big and bold as it's ever been this year. I hope that some of you got a chance to take your family down there. It was quite spectacular, and they even promised bigger and better next year. So hopefully you enjoyed that. We opened up the 3 of 4 family homeless shelters in Wahiawa in December. So we had the one here in town, Waikiki Vista, another one in Mo'ili run by Family Promise, and now a third one in Wahiawa by Family Promise. You know, we just dedicated and opened it on the 18th of December. We already have 12 families, 43 in there, and the community's really embraced it. It's really excellent. And the 4th one will be up in Haula that will get open in a couple more months, in addition to our other efforts. So you can find the mayor's newsletter online, so please take a look at it. We put it out every month. You can also search through previous issues. The Neighborhood Board Commission, they're letting you know that registration for board elections are open now. And I know you talked about it now and you had one candidate. All the information you can find at the NCO site. You know, the dates are opening up. Voting ends in May 16th. So you'll have that process and be able to go through that. And you can look up all of the requirements. So also right now, the city is seeking Ocean Safety Commissioner candidates for their 2025 launch. As you know, in the city charter, they adopted a part to have a commission and have that ocean safety be overseen by a commission. Probably the biggest thing they do is they help evaluate the director. So it's not really a direct report, very much like the police commission is with the police chief. Doesn't report to the mayor for evaluation, really goes to a commission. So if you're interested and you have some background in that area, please look into that. Those volunteers in all of the commissions, and I have a few that work in my department, are just really valuable to everything we do. So if that's of interest to you, please seek that out. You can find that all that information on the honolulu.gov websites. One of the questions that came up as I go through the questions, most of the questions really involve the Department of Transportation in particular, and you'll be covering those. I would add to some of those, like the handy van that was brought up tonight, add that into that conversation because those are all part of DTS. For the sake of time, and since we have Director Thielen, I don't think I'll go through the DTS questions because you'll cover those in that meeting. I'll try to attend as well for you to audit that. There were questions, though, however, regarding DDC and the Army Corps of Engineers report. And so I will say that this is regarding the erosion along Diamond Head coastline. And DDC is scheduled to meet with Parks and Rec this month. And the seawall between Makalei and Laiahi Beach Parks is now under the jurisdiction of the state of Hawaii. You can ask Director Thielen about her thoughts on that and the carryover to that. DDC did receive the Corps of Engineers permit in December 2024 and is scheduled repairs to start this month on the wall collapse at Queen Surf Beach. So I think that's good news to move over there. Like I said, I think everything else revolves around DTS that was in the answering questions part. So I can either take questions now or I could defer to Director Thielen as part of my report.
Why don't we stick with you and for questions that we got that may not be parks related?
Okay.
And go from there. And Madam?
With Madam,
My
with
neighbor
Madam.
has this great sign on Leahi that is from Department of Transportation. It says 20 is plenty. And I'd like to get one on our end of Leahi because people are speeding. And I think that sign might help them pay attention to, obeying the speed limit in our area.
Yeah, well, you have a great forum to bring that up, at the meeting coming up.
Okay, thank you.
But, since you talked about signage, that's great that you brought that up because there was a question about that plot of land where you turn off of Kapahulu into the Alawai Golf Course. And I know in my first meeting with this group, they asked about, can we get that area cleaned up, right? And so we finally got it cleaned up for construction. I have been meeting with Director Hollyfield on the plans for that because I have some concerns about some of the encampments that are along that site, given, my department. And so what we can do, there's multiple things, but one of the things we're going to do is we're going to install some signage up there, which allows the HPD to take enforcement actions, no trespassing, government property, those kind of things. The property was at one time part of parks. And the reason why it went to parks when it was given to the city was that parks has rules, right? They have nighttime rules. They have rules that could allow people to enforce. And anyway, that period of time that it was with parks has expired. So it's gone back to enterprise services. So they have the jurisdiction on that. She's not sure. She has a bunch of plans for some new construction. And I think you've seen that the golf course, the driving range is going to close. All of that is part of a plan she has. And so I'm trying to work that out with her on what we can do and what will help her. But I'm going to get DFN to put signage up, which allow HPD to come down and do enforcements along there. But again, I'm of a strong belief if I move people, I have to have places to put them. I've got not put them, but have places for them to go to. I apologize for that. I have a 100-bed shelter opening up in Evilay that I think will coincide with that. One of the 25-bed shelters is really a high-tech shelter using medical advances in behavioral health and architecture advances to help people along a healing process. And I would invite any of you that anybody wants to contact me, I would be glad after we open that up to give you a tour and explain that to you because it's a world-class event that we're doing here that's not been done anywhere else in trying to work with people in helping that healing process because there's a lot of trauma after being homeless. So anyway, we are working on that. But one of the solutions for there is to bring HONU here. And so what I might suggest is maybe I could schedule a HONU presentation before we make a decision so we could have the kind of dialogue that you guys like to have and discuss it. And then it would be part of the input on to Dita on what she might do going forward. So we can talk and see if that would be something to schedule.
Thank you. And I think we have some other questions definitely online. Are there any questions for Director Krucki in person first? Madam?
Okay, this is Arlene. Hi.
Hi.
I have a question regarding the seawall between like the Outrigger Canoe Club all the way to Makalei Park. And there's a lot of erosion going on along that seawall. And I would like to know what the plan is for that. There's literally a section right next to a condo that's about 15 feet and it's collapsing from 15 feet from the foundation of a condo that's about 10 stories high.
Director Thielen may have some comment on that, but my suspect is that state, but that doesn't prevent me from going and investigating it for you. So I'll try.
Yeah, I
to
think
as
it
well.
is state, but there's a lot of confusion because it's state, it's the wall, but the public has access to it, to, the right of way to that part of the beach. So it is kind of a very confusing area.
It is. We're trying to get over that, but the statutes have certain rules that, do certain things, but I'll still investigate it and be able to get back to you.
Okay, and then I think it was I wasn't able to make the last meeting, but 2 meetings ago, I asked if the mayor had any plans for what the city's action will be if Trump starts mass deportations here in Honolulu.
And no comment on that. Mayor's made no comment on that.
Okay, and we have a couple folks online. Laura, I see you.
Yes, hello, Anton. Yes, this is in regard to number E, updates on proposed Alawai Bridge project alternatives and environmental impact statement status. And also people brought up tonight with the possibility that the Army Corps of Engineers has abandoned their project now, or are they still trying to work with DTS? These people have been silent for quite some time. We don't know as community members, we don't know what the status is. So what is the update as you understand it at this point? And maybe at the next meeting next month, whenever, there'll be somebody that has some concrete effects. Thank you.
I can't really comment on the update part, but I can ask them to publish, because it is a very public process, whatever the current status is online. But I'll take your consideration for maybe having someone come here. But that issue seems to be an issue of it to itself for a public debate. I think it could overtake a neighborhood board meeting. So the chair, maybe we could discuss the right forum or what for that. It's, that's why we've had all of these gatherings to discuss it, right?
Ideally, I think maybe if you know briefly if there's a status on the proposed bridge, if they're going to be publishing, I think do we need to go after an EIS or that sort of thing, or what the status is? And the other question was, is the Army Corps project, the separate Army Corps project that it was originally having dams back in the valley, the
flood,
put walls around the Alawai, that we have heard that has been officially withdrawn, but I don't know that the city was either from the city or the federal government perspective. If you know of either a status of those without, getting overly involved in that discussion.
Yeah.
No, I don't know the status on the Army Corps of Engineers. I've heard things, but I don't know. I couldn't comment from an official standpoint. In regards to the other items, I think that the last statement that I heard was all the information from all those meetings have been gathered up and they're in the process of being reviewed. I think that was the last statement 2 weeks ago that I saw.
Thank you. And Margaret?
Anton, you mentioned Waikiki Vista as being one of the places that you were putting houseless people. Are there homeless people there? I thought it was just the Royal Hawaiian Band.
Now, Waikiki Vista has a set of activities going on. One is, the band is there, and now that's their new headquarters and home in a practice session area, and it's worked out quite well for them. We had the blessing, and it was very well received. In the building, in the areas and the living spaces, four floors, which are 48 rooms, which hold families, small families, because they were former dorm rooms, but some were dorms for 2 and 4 people. We dedicated those. We gave 1 floor for family shelter, which means someone comes off the street and right off the street, and you kind of work with them and see what their general needs are immediately. And then you start to work on them to what's your solution? What do you need to go forward, and housing solutions. And then we gave 3 more floors for not permanent supportive housing, but supportive housing, which gives time for them to kind of get their feet on the ground and get things arranged for transportation, school, nutrition, all of those things. And then from there, we move them into they can move to permanent housing. So very rarely in a shelter strategy does a shelter have the next step available to them. And so we gave all 48 rooms to Catholic Charities to run that way. So they can run the first floor and then can have the other ones available to them. It's working out extremely well. It's almost completely full. And you want some openings because you want to be able to address emergencies that occur. But it's really great. And if you meet the folks, that they feel that they've been kind of rescued, and then they feel nurtured, and then they feel kind of housed. And then from there, they can see that they're working on some more permanent solutions. The rest
I
of the
had no
floors
idea
are
that
what we
this
call
was, yeah, we don't-
transit-oriented
yeah.
development floors for workforce housing. So they're affordable housing and their workforce. And we have both the proximity to Waikiki, which is a large workplace, and great proximity to public transportation. So that's what's living in there. And they're all seeming to work well together. Again, these are families that are in there. I
Yes.
think you should be proud that you have this in your community.
No, absolutely. But I just hadn't heard anything about that. And usually there's, you know, quite a bit of publicity. And also to the Norman Nip project, you know, at the end of the Alawai that was taken over by the city, you know, at the very end by the watermark. Just, I think it's like in the 1500 block of Alawai. And it was the real rundown.
Is that the 1615 LOI?
Yeah,
property?
probably. Yeah.
Yeah, it's in the process of, it was condemned, right? We took it over. Yeah, it's going to be redeveloped. So the Department of Land Management is redeveloping that property and they'll put it out for a bid for developers to redevelop it.
It needs to be cleaned up because it's really a mess. Still. Okay,
Thank you, Margaret. And Ms. Metzen?
Mahalo, Chair Welch. Thank you so much again, Anton, for your extremely thorough report, for reviewing everything that you've heard that you can respond to. We're a very fortunate board to have you as the mayor's representative, and we certainly hope you will continue your excellent work for the city and for the people of Honolulu. Going into your comments about the Waikiki Vista, which Margaret brought up very appropriately. The use of that building appears to be a very good alternative use, adaptive reuse. I'm just wondering about the Royal Hawaiian Band, if they shouldn't just move back into the Waikiki Shell at Kapiolani Park so they can have ample room for practicing. And so everyone around the park can continue to enjoy their talents in the true Hawaiian cultural fashion. So I would encourage our board, either by committee and most definitely our board's committees, to invite Dita to meet with us. She's very responsive, very efficient and knowledgeable. And I'm sure we could have a very constructive conversation. We'd like to include you because you are very perceptive about what's going on at Alawai. And I think a meeting of ideas and productivity might be very helpful at this point. That's just a suggestion. For my question, as president of the Diamond Head State Monument Foundation, we are launching an effort with Department of State Parks to continue our mission under our longstanding grant with Hawaii Community Foundation to restore the landscaping along Diamond Head Road. We are working with KCC as our main volunteer group. We have signed an agreement with the Department of Parks, an Adopt a Park agreement, and with the coordinators from KCC. And our first low-hanging fruit project is Flanders Mini Park, which was established by the city as a city bus rest stop. However, all that's gone on there, and urban forestry has been very helpful, trimming the shower trees, opening it up so it's not dark and foreboding anymore. The volunteers will be starting there in a few weeks, and we understand that the city's trash pickup is at that point at the bus stop, and we'd like to know who to contact to work out an arrangement for the restoration trash and other than green waste, for that to be picked up along with the regular trash pickup. So that's my request and question.
So, first, thank you for your kind comments. Before I get to talk about the refuge pickup, you can just contact me and give me the items and the parameters of what you're looking for, and I'll carry that to E&V for them to look at and give you not probably a response, but I'm sure they're very reactive to those situations, so I'm sure they'll be helpful to you in your project. In regarding to the Royal Band being there, I have to tell you, they are as happy as can be. They haven't had a permanent home since their existence. And if you go visit them, if you have a meeting or you can go by because it's open, to go visit where now their offices are is like a history. So we kind of collaborated with Bishop Museum to get all their archives out that were stuck in a closet at the Shell. And now they can display them, and you really get a great feeling of their place in history in the Hawaiian Islands. So I think there's a lot of benefit for them being there. So I would just, tell you that the band, they tell me how happy they are that we were able to make that happen for them. So that's just that perspective.
Good to know.
Okay, yeah, I imagine they have a nice new building compared to
Yeah.
at the back of the shell. And we have Noella, you have a question or comment for Director Cruck?
Yes, I do. Hau'ole makahiki ho to everybody in the neighborhood board. It's good to see everybody again. Thank you, Mr. Crucky, for coming and joining us. And I did want to give a very big mahalo to the city and county of Honolulu and the state of Hawaii for it's a community thing, but it actually involves a family member. Long story short, thanks for allowing my granddaughter the opportunity to work on what is known as her Girl Scout Gold Award, which she started when she was in the 6th grade. She's going to be a senior, and she's currently a junior. And she, along with city and county and the state and the Parks and Recreation, were kind enough to look at what she has done over the many years from 6th grade to now. And we're very proud, but you folks have allowed her to put a bench in, which she will make, and alongside with the city and county parks. So thank you very, very much for that. And it's personal for my family, but in today's day and age, especially with the rough start we've all had, I thought it would be nice to just share this with you and the rest of everyone else in the neighborhood. We got to take care of the place. It's never over. But thank you very much on behalf of my family and the hard work that my little granddaughter did. And people are going to be able to sit on a bench at one of the parks here on Oahu and at sunset. And there you have it, everybody. Thank you very, very much. And Happy New Year. Aloha.
You brought a big smile to Director Thielen's face. I would just tell you, with my grandchildren and family, it's amazing the breadth of the programs that the Department of Parks and Recs brings to the city and county. It ranges everywhere from Kapuna Valentine's Day ball coming up, that dance, to all of the summer fun, to the many activities that they do, all the senior culture events. So I think we can all be proud of Parks and Rec.
Thank you.
I did have, Linda, go ahead. Sorry.
Thank you.
Yeah, Linda.
Thank you very much for coming back with all these updates. I neglected somehow to get a timeline or more information on the collapsed sidewalk. It's outside of the Barefoot Cafe with the old Queens Beach, and also the proposed updates for the Waikiki Memorial, more known as an auditorium.
Yeah. Yeah, I think the last report on the memorial was the presentation they gave you was the last report. So I can get that updated for you, Linda, and also the collapsed sidewalk. I didn't have anything on that at this time, but I will get that.
I read or heard that the Army Corps of Engineers is working on it. or they're supposed to work on it. And I frequent that area very much. So a lot of local people over in our area across the park go over there regularly. And it's scary. It's a mess. They have two big areas cordoned off with barbed wire, not barbed wire, but screens, fence. And we went and there was one hole down to the earth, you could see the water underneath, and now it has another one. And this is the second area.
I'm going to go look at it myself.
No,
I'll give you an update.
First they had it so the visitors, I'm sorry, along the beach had to walk around. But then it's sort of like the people don't know where to go now. It's because the topography is changing so fast. It's dangerous. You know where I read it? I read the Army Corps of Engineer from Senator Morikawa or Moriwaki.
Moriwaki.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah, we're all going to be facing changes along our coastlines, given climate change and the raise in the water level. It's going to have quite an impact in the next 25 years. Yeah, of course it is.
The whole coast is getting hollowed out.
There's an expectation that within 25 years, it'll be a 1-foot raise, which
It'll
has
be
great
what?
impact. 1-foot raise of the water level.
Oh, just more one foot.
One foot that has
Yeah,
a big
no.
impact on high tides and
Since the king tides have come, it's been a major change.
yeah, that's a big issue.
And I don't see any other question, but Director Cookie, I did have a follow-up. I mean, just after seeing these horrific fires in California, and of course, cognizant of Lahaina last year, Diamond Head is, as far as I'm concerned, just a dangerous tinderbox, especially with the open fires of people living on the mountain. I don't know what we can do to say zero camping on that mountain, zero fires on that mountain. I appreciate they don't have a home. So as you said, you don't want to take people out without having supportive services for them, which makes total sense. But is there a way that we can say this is like an emergency that we don't want something to happen there, then that spreads right through this neighborhood in a tragedy that we don't even want to imagine? But it seems like it's been such a longstanding problem. Could we get some emergency decree from the mayor and the governor at the same time to say, we're not going to be doing this anymore? It's just too dangerous. And then doing something about the grass that grows there, maybe bring in goats, or I don't know what would work, but something just as we see these awful fires. It's been a long-standing issue, and I just don't see any resolution towards that. Any thoughts?
Well, it is longstanding. I'd have to go. You have to make sure you go, every other night by every other night, because I have increased the amount of awareness to the fire department and HPD and the state DLNR on the fires on the hillside, because I agree with you about the potential danger. I haven't thought about a quadrant off area for that, but maybe at my next meeting with the mayor and the homeless committee, we'll review that. I'll bring that up in that forum. Keeping up with the grass maintenance and all of those things is an ongoing struggle for everyone. And right where you get it right in one section, it grows so fast in another section. So all of those things are valid. And we have to be as diligent as we can. And what's going on in California and what went on in Lahaina, and also what went on our island, it just doesn't have to be populated. Those are very scary events and tragic.
I just reading about the folks they said there was basically one way out. And I know that we had a presentation here from somebody, and they were talking about how up back in the valleys here that a lot of these folks really only have one way out, or if one road is cut off, there's some really serious, I don't know if we've ever had a comprehensive view of that and telling people, okay, if this road is blocked, go over here. But I mean, those fires move so fast that it could be here and then over there in a minute. But it's
every planning is helpful. I mean, in your building, you have to plan evacuation. On our streets, we have to plan evacuation, and wherever you do better planning, it's helpful. whether or not it's always meets every piece, it's difficult, but your point's very well taken and I think it's very true.
Yeah, I think it just getting rid of open fires on the grasslands probably a good start, but maybe we'll go from there.
Yeah.
And we got a comment question from Franklin.
Very quick answer to the question you had about the Army Corps projects. I heard a rumor, and this is just a rumor, that all Army Corps flood mitigation projects around the country are sort of on hold because of a lawsuit ruling somewhere in the Midwest. But that's just a rumor.
Franklin, and I don't know if Ms. Manson has her hand up.
Yes, I
or if
do.
it just, okay, go ahead.
Thank you. Just to follow up on the fires, Anton, we have had a running request that is now a notice on our agenda under the fire department for the charts that they provided in April to the board with details on fires at Diamond Head, open fires, brush fires, nuisance fires, whatever they want to call them open fires from encampments where the inhabitants cut down the kiawe limbs and build fires. We asked for a report. They gave us an excellent chart. The chart had the date, the location, and the address vicinity, not the property owner, mostly the state along Diamond Head Road, and the time and type of fire. There were 14 fires during that period of this nature. This has been a very serious concern since Lahaina, and now we have California. Diamond Head Road is a singular roadway, one way in and one way out in both directions. No side exits. And those in the homes all around Diamond Head will be the first to be the victims. We have got to have the governor act on this. We've got to have the mayor take this seriously. When I met with him at a public information meeting in Manoa last year, he said, "Oh, that's okay. We'll cut the grass." Well, you can't cut semi-wilderness terrain. You can't even take equipment over it. The only way you'll control fires is with helicopters, but in high winds, as we've had in Lahaina and California, helicopters don't fly. So that's the end of it. We're all gone. All the way from Diamond Head, the surrounding communities, Kahala, Kaimaki, Kapahulu, Kapiolani Park, and all the way through Waikiki as a result of this negligence and lack of interest in taking drastic action at this point. I urge you and plead with you to please be the messenger on this. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Michelle. And you, Director Krucky, and I think probably we can ask Director Thielen to come up and just remember that this is not an exhaustive conversation with Director Thielen, and we appreciate her very much coming tonight.
Ha'ole makahiki ho, everybody. It's very nice to see you and start the new year off with the.
Can you talk a little bit closer to the mic?
Sure. Is this better? Sorry, I'm kind of tall, so. Is this better? All right. So again, Happy New Year, folks. It's good to be here tonight. After the last meeting, I gave Winston a call, and I understand that you're going to have a committee meeting to talk about the Makalei Park. But we agreed that it would probably be a good idea for me to come here and to share some of the other things that are going on in the community. We know that parks are near and dear to everybody's heart. And we'd like to be able to be coming to every neighborhood board on a regular basis, but there are 36 neighborhood boards. We also have the council, the parks committee, our park board, and a number of other community meetings. So we're never able to be at every community meeting where people would like us to be. And so I would like to take advantage of the opportunity that you provided me tonight to also just run through a few other things that are going on in your community. As you've mentioned, we have a couple seawalls and issues where the erosion has affected a lot of these older seawalls The first happened near the Barefoot Beach Cafe, and then now at Leahi Park. We are working with DDC on the fix to the seawall at the Barefoot Beach Cafe and are moving forward under an emergency procurement to do that. Because it's touching navigable waters, the Army Corps of Engineers does have to review and approve the work. And we've been talking to DDC because now that we are having some collapse of the wall at Leahi, to take a look at, approaching them on a programmatic type of permit. And so they're having some discussions with Army Corps. Is there a more efficient way we can approach the Waikiki area? Unfortunately, there is some confusion between the state responsibilities and the property owner's responsibilities. We're trying to work that out with DLNR on Leahi. If it is in question, my recommendation is the city go forward and just fix it, but we'll see what we can work out with DLNR. It is a question because we use bond money to do the improvements. And so we have to have, title or clearly own the property if we're going to be investing bond funds in doing the improvements. Another thing that we're working on is an island-wide plan for parks regarding climate change. So we just finalized that professional services contract, and that's going to be taking a look at the parks around the island for two things. Where we're losing parks to erosion, and that would include some of the parks here, a lot of our Windward and North Shore parks, but also heat. How do we address the increased heat, both for the patrons of the parks as well as for our staff that are working in them, or the arborists that are working on the street trees in other areas? So we want to be taking a look at policies that are being used in other jurisdictions like California, Texas, New Mexico, where it's already Arizona, very hot. How do they keep people cool in the parks? How do they keep their staff safe when they're out there working in the middle of the day? We also are working in Kapiolani Park on a number of what's called passive recreation improvements. We have the adult exercise equipment there. There's a community group that wants to volunteer to help us kind of freshen that up and provide some additional opportunities for adult exercise in that area. There's a group of people that play bocce ball already in the park, and they've talked to us about doing a kind of a passive, more of a bocce ball court for people to be able to use, and people can bring their own balls to that area. The City Council has asked us to provide more opportunity for sand volleyball. And we don't have a lot of beach space because our beaches tend to be pretty narrow and they are eroding at a very rapid rate. And so the council's encouraged us to take a look at inland park areas that would be appropriate for sand volleyball. So one was put into Ala Moana Regional Park at an area that was not very much utilized and helped activate that, but that's inland. It's actually not on the beach itself, it's further inland. And so we're taking a look at if we were to put those plans in other areas, and there may be a possibility in some of the locations in Kapiolani Park near the comfort stations, and with the parking available. So it's something we're looking at in various areas around the island. They've asked for it out at the Leeward Coast and other areas as well. So we're dealing with a lot of conceptual ideas at this point where we do not have plans, but just trying to figure out what could be located where and how to go about it. So we'd be happy to have more of a detailed conversation with you at the committee level with the various things in this community at the parks. And with that, I'd be happy to take any questions that you may have.
I have a question and a comment. I'd like to have a subcommittee meeting on the environmental group and include you in it to regards to the options on what you can do to protect the parks as far as armament versus sand restoration and that kind of subject. Because there are areas on the parks where, sand dune restoration would be much more effective than seawalls.
Correct. And we're actually doing a fairly large project in Kailua for a dune restoration at Kailua Beach Park. And so we've met with that neighborhood board. We're partnering with UHC grant as well as DLNR, Office of Conservation and Coastal Lands, on doing that fairly large project. And then there's a group out at Pupukea that is meeting with us about something similar. And then we've been working with some groups out in Punaluu on the same type of thing. So, and our Division of Urban Forestry does have a nursery and landscaping section. They do a lot of work on trees, but they're also working very closely with these groups with us because we're seeing that that is going to be something that's in the future. What we may want to do is, as we work with on this climate change contract, to just kind of be efficient, because our department is pulled at so many different meetings. We will be informing our park board. Every third meeting of the park board is a general meeting, and we'll be adding those planning contracts that we're working on, including the climate change, with the full park board meeting. And maybe we could invite you to participate in that. And that might be a more efficient way that the people in the various neighborhood boards that have similar interests could come into that meeting, as opposed to, because we can't
Right.
go out to 10, 30 boards.
I think that's a great idea.
Yeah.
And Margaret, you have a question or comment?
Hi, Laura. I know this came up during the pandemic, but maybe HTA could donate some of their funds. It's soap in the bathrooms, public bathrooms. I mean, there's nowhere in this country, do you have bathrooms that look like ours? And soap would go a long way. I know you think that, or maybe you don't think so, but the homeless would get after it. But it's really not healthy not to have some sort of, sanitary cleaning in there. And it'd be nice to have the bathrooms upgraded too.
We're working on two things regarding the bathrooms right now. One is we've identified a new type of design for comfort stations that we are bringing in here for our new bathrooms. We're working with the YMCA at one at Kapahulu Park, and we're working in the city at both Waimanalo Beach Park and Oneula. These bathrooms are designed differently, so you don't have an interior room that kind of draws the bad behavior, which is the area that the sinks are. And so what they do is they have the stall doors for the toilets open directly outside. The sinks are on the exterior of the comfort station. And then all of the fixtures, we have that, it's called a P-trap. I never knew the name of it before I started in this job, but it's that UE-shaped thing under the sink. That will often get broken in the comfort station, so people can put a bucket under it and use it to then do laundry or whatever. All the fixtures actually go directly into the wall, and then that P-trap is in the secure chase. So the staff can get in there to do the plumbing work, but it's not exposed to the public. So they're really designed to reduce vandalism and to make sure that the things like the toilets, or the one we're looking at Waimanalo Beach Park, would also include changing rooms open directly outside, so that you have a more secure area for people to be able to use, and you don't have that kind of bad behavior room that blocks people from being able to use the facilities. So that's one design. And the other is, coming up with more standard training and methods for the bathroom cleaning, so we could be consistent across the department on that. We've had a huge change in personnel with COVID and also with the aging baby boomers. Our department has filled, we've lost and filled 200 positions over the last couple years. And it's a massive change. So we want to kind of systematize our training for new groundskeepers as they're coming on, so that we can just be more consistent across the island. So that's our two big efforts on the comfort stations now.
Consider soap, please.
I'm going to work on working toilets and running water first.
And are there any other questions or comments for Director Thielen? Linda?
Well, thank you. Thank you for coming. I really appreciate it. I'm sure most of the board does too. 3 questions. If you were to just fix the seawall at Barefoot Cafe, how long would that take?
They're working on the permit now. They're working on the design at the Barefoot Beach Cafe and the permit with the Army Corps of Engineers. So that one is going through. We released funding on that under the emergency procurement. Then Leahi happened. And so that now we have to resolve kind of who has title to that wall at Leahi. But we've already talked to DDC about starting to take a, look at that and talking to the Army Corps about should we have a programmatic permit for all of the city beach walls along that area. And I know the question came up earlier about the title. I was down there today and, walked along some of that area. It looks like the building materials for a lot of that seawall is the same for the entire stretch, but the surface portion, like for instance, the area in between Makale and Leahi is one type of surface, but that's not the same surface at Makale or Leahi. So whatever was done historically, it's been, things have happened since then. Yeah, so I don't know who actually technically owns them or anything.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's been, first the gate was open, then there was no gate. Yeah, it's completely hard.
Yeah, and then we had to put up the fencing at Leahi to stop people from going over where the sinkhole is, because as you saw at Barefoot Beach Cafe, once that wall is breached, when the ocean goes in, it's undermining and we don't know how fast it's going to go. So we put up that fencing to stop people from that whole area, given what we learned at that other Barefoot Beach location.
Well, I appreciate your work on that because, well, as you know, it's dangerous.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
It's scary to even look at. I was, cliffs, Arlene, what's the name of the cliffs?
Hule.
Oh, Kui Lake Cliffs. I heard something, it might be a rumor, but you would know, that they're getting some kind of reprimand because they did that, without getting anybody's permission.
So somebody called us today. We've met with the group before. We've told them, I guess somebody was trying to help them about how to raise money. And they needed like an adopt-a-park agreement. And so as some of you know that you've taken advantage of our new, very streamlined system for adopt-a-park, which is great. So we explained the process to them and said we'd be delighted to give them an adopt-a-park agreement. They didn't want to do it. And so we said, if you're going to work here, just give advance notice to us if you need trash pickup, because we have limited number of trucks and staffing. And if we need to schedule green waste pickup, we can do that. The group apparently, I guess somebody cut down a large kiawe tree. I only found out about this today because people called us and said, I hear you're suing them. It's like, well, this is the first I've heard of anything. We don't have any lawsuit, anything. But what I have found out since then is that a large kiawe tree was somehow cut down. The kiawe wood was we were not given advance notice to come pick anything up. And then when we went to go look at what we needed to clear up, it's been stored in an area where much of it we can't reach. So if you folks have contacts with the group,
yes,
get the group to cooperate with us and work with us, because for them, they're just basically creating fuel for a fire by doing that in that location. And we are happy to coordinate and pick up the green waste with them, but for some reason, it's the coordination is not coming from their end. So
who should
with
we
an adopt
have them
park or
contact?
without, they know who to contact. I've met with them. The district manager has met with them. The Kapi'olani Park Regional Park Manager has met with them, and we are repeatedly telling them we would be happy if you can give us advance notice. We will schedule green waste pickup.
Pick up for the wood, okay.
Yeah. But we do want them to work with us to put it in a location where we can pick it up. So I don't know if they cut down the tree or if somebody else cut down the tree, but I understand it was a mature kiawe tree that was cut down, which is really kind of a shame. I mean, if they're, our arborists will go out if something needs to be, trimmed back or cut back, but we do not like to eliminate trees unnecessarily. And then we always try to work on offsetting with planting so we don't have a loss of total trees. So that was a little disheartening to find out about today.
So they're in okay standing, or there's nothing?
Well, we have I don't know how this rumor started of a lawsuit. Apparently somebody posted something on social media. This is the first I heard of it. So we don't have any action against them, but we would like them to work with us.
Okay.
So I would not say they're in good standing, because cutting down a tree and leaving, highly flammable wood in a location where it can't be picked up is not really being a good steward.
Yeah.
So I
Oh, I
think
get
they could
that.
be in better standing if they
Okay.
work with us.
And who should they contact?
Again, they know, they
Oh,
know
okay.
the district manager, they know the regional park manager, they know me. We've met with them repeatedly.
Okay. They have done, I think, a good job of beautifying the area.
Absolutely. And
Yeah.
we're not stopping them by any
Okay,
means.
I just wanted-
We're just trying to actually help, make it more efficient.
Me too. Okay. And then, there's one more. Let's see. That might be it. Oh, there's some other people that exercise at Kaimana Beach Park, and they do it on a regular basis, and they collect money, and they have a microphone, and they're a large group, like 50 of them, and they do exercises. When I see them, what should I do?
So on the commercial activities, we do have a ranger project
Oh.
that we are gathering information on and then going to be taking a look at various options. I think we're going to be starting with the tour bus activities first and then going to the other types of commercial activities. So at this point, maybe what we can do is give you the information on how you can get your observation data to the rangers. We've done a couple presentations to the city council on this, and they are collecting the information, and then that's going to help us with,
That's
future
good.
actions.
Okay.
Yeah.
And who should I contact?
Let me get information to you on that. I don't have
Sure.
that on me tonight.
Thank you.
Yeah.
That's it for me.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And Marlene has another question.
Hi, I have one more question. Right after the Honolulu Marathon, I contacted your office because the next 2 days, when I go on my morning runs, there was a tremendous amount of trash up and down the course route. And I called your office to see, who's responsible. Was it the people who put on the marathon and they should be cleaning up? Apparently in Japan, after a marathon, like the last runner, they have a sweep coming along. And there was so many of these goo wrappers and all along. Now, along the park itself, it looked like they had done some cleanup, but in the further areas of the route, there was just trash everywhere.
So we can find out, I think, if they get permits from various agencies, depending on whose jurisdiction. So they may, they're on the highway, so there may be a permit from state highway. When they're on the city streets, they may be permitted by DTS. When they're going through the park, the permit is with us. So each of the groups would have permit conditions. So I think we'd have to go take a look at that and find out from the other agencies. We've been beefing up our park permit conditions, like for things, the surf meets that we have, to add in more custodial services by the permittee for large events. We have a lot of large events at parks, and so we want to make sure that there's additional help to provide that cleanup, after the event. So that's usually a requirement, maybe why you saw a difference in the parks. I think DTS also has requirements, and they do have some people who oversee the permits for their events who can go back to the permittee if there was a problem. So maybe since we're doing some follow-up with DTS anyway, we can add that to the list of questions for them. Yeah, and then you guys could have a number to call, or someone to report if something hadn't been cleaned after an event.
Yeah. Say it again.
I have one more. I'll be quick though.
You don't
Okay,
have
I'm sorry.
quotas?
The Kaimana Beach showers, were not built to specs. They were subbed out. The bid was given to Kobayashi and they subbed it out. Hence, they did not get built according to the specs. So the last I heard from our new engineer was that Department of Parks doesn't have any money for it and DFM doesn't have any money for it. And then that's it.
So I understand that the stormwater management folks put out the design for this. And so I think people are used to kind of a free flowing beach shower with a lot of water. And we have a couple issues that we need to deal with the water on beach showers. One is under the stormwater regulations and the NPDES, we can't have the water go into the ocean because people will be using soap and things like that. And Board of Water Supply really wants us to reduce the water use because of the limited water, the change in rainfall due to climate change and everything else. So while the pendulum swung a little bit too far in the direction of Kaimana, and we're trying to move it back a little bit, to be a little more adjusting the flow. And we've done a couple changes on that to make it better. I think the days of the free flowing beach showers are limited, and we need to be replacing more of them with reduced flow. Just because they're huge water guzzlers. Our water bill at the Parks Department is millions and millions of dollars with the usage, and it's just too much.
So it will be adjusted again, or it's still being?
I don't know if there's still another planned adjustment. I have gone down and used the shower a couple times, and I know the last time that I used it, it was much better than it was, but it's certainly not back to what. So people are longing for the old days.
No,
but-
the other shower,
Yeah.
which was a mess.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, but they can't have that. I understand that. Okay, thank you very much.
And we really appreciate you coming tonight. We know that you have such an important job in our city of keeping our parks beautiful and maintaining a, huge budget and staff. And we really appreciate, your, coming down to see the very, from the large to the small in this neighborhood. But yeah, we genuinely appreciate you coming. Hope you have a wonderful year. And we look forward to working with you and the parks staff to, make our city a better place.
And then thank you again for the opportunity to talk with you tonight. And if we could work with you on that committee meeting date, just to make sure that is something that works in the schedule.
Sure. And again, if folks want to attend that committee meeting about Makale and Bleahi, then let me know so we can get a good amount that we can figure out a good meeting space, and we'll publish it in advance so everybody knows. Okay, thank you so much, Director Thielen. Okay, I just want to do a quick time check here because let's say we got a half an hour. I do see someone from Senator Chang's office and from, I think Anthony is probably Tina, right? Let's see, who else is are there any other elected representatives here online besides Senator Chang's office? Or Amanda? I know Scott's here. I'm just checking online who we got online because I'm seeing Scott and I did see Amanda, but because I think we have probably more time than we imagined as what I was going after. So with that, is there anyone from Congressman Case's office, Senator Schatz? Did I leave something off? I'm so sorry. Thank you. It takes a village. Scott Nishimoto is going to be here very soon, but before that, we have Tommy Waters' office here. So if Amanda, I did see you. There you are online. So if you want to take it away. Well, Amanda, we'll come back to you. And with that, we would like to welcome our newest city council member. Congratulations. And
Thank you so much.
nice to see you again.
Thank you.
As Council Member Scott Nishimoto. And if you could tell us what your basic boundaries are so we know if we should contact your office for stuff.
Yeah, so for this neighborhood board, I only have St. Louis Heights. So I think Sub-District 1 is the only thing that I have. But it's great to be back. I attended this board for 20 years when I was in the state house. You had a 2-year break from me and I'm back. So it's good to see some familiar faces. I wanted to first introduce my staff. I had my whole staff come tonight so that you guys could put faces to names when you call our office. First of all, Taylor Date, you folks all know her. She was my representative at this neighborhood board for a long time. So she's back with me in the council. Heath Williams, he worked for me in the state legislature on the budget committee. He's over at the council with me. And then Kylie Tokujo, she worked session staff for me 2 years ago. And then she's also on my staff at the council. And Kylie will primarily be covering this board. So she'll be the, the person you guys mostly interface with. When you call our office for anything that has to do with this board, ask for Kylie or me. But she'll be kind of your representative on the board. Started last week in the council, after 22 years in the House. I will be the vice chair of the budget committee. And then I will also be the chair of what was EMLA, the legal matters. The neighborhood board also falls under my committee. So I'll be chairing that. So looking forward to it. If you have any questions, fire away.
Do we have any immediate questions for our new
And
council member?
Linda wanted me to come even before I was a council person. So I knew she would have questions.
Go ahead, Linda.
Yeah, okay. Just short, welcome and thank you. And who's the chair of the budget committee?
It's Tyler Dos Santos Tam.
And then what do you chair of the other one?
It was EMLA. It's like legal matters. So it's, I think all the settlements come to my committee. The neighborhood board, youth matters, and then international matters.
Does it have a new name?
Yeah, it has a new name.
Okay.
I'm still learning the names myself. So.
Thank you. Mahalo.
And are there any folks online who had a question or comment for council member? So I remember the first time you came to my door, I think you were still in junior high school.
I remember coming to your door in Diamond Head. I remember coming to your door.
Yes, and I told you, remember, get out a pencil. I'm going to be calling you. And I think your office has always been really responsive, and I did always call your office even when you weren't my representative anymore. So I appreciate that. And
Well, I wanted you guys to know who you were talking to. When
so can you repeat? We said Kylie,
Keith, and Taylor.
Keith, and Taylor. Okay. And are you just on those two committees, the finance and then the one that was sort of the legal matters and neighborhood board?
I'm on one more, yeah. Oh yeah, Parks. And then
and Parks.
I think every member is on executive matters, which is I'm on also.
And your district or your area is only on the Mauka side of Wailea?
Yes, so just St. Louis Heights for your guys' board. I mean I have Palolo. I have basically it's Palolo all the way to Ward Avenue. But for this board, it's just sub-district 1 that we cover.
Okay. Is that Kanevai Park area too?
It is. I don't know if your guys' board covers that, but yeah, we have Connie one.
Yeah, I think we do. We go just right up to.
Okay, I know it's right on the board. I was looking at the map.
Yeah, as I was looking at the map, which is why so many more people got, when the redistricting happened, we got little chunks and it was, wasn't a clean cut. So we do have, yeah, there you go. So
there, so I'm on the upper side on sub-district 1.
Okay. So
But of course
sub-district
you'll
1,
come
so you're just on the,
Yeah,
it looks like you got a little bit of, on the other side of Harding, maybe?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. Well, we certainly appreciate you here, and we will love to see your face as well as Kylie's. I know sometimes our meetings will go on, and we most likely don't get to your staff before, later, but so many of the conversations that happen before then are germane to your office. And anyway, so we appreciate you all coming today, and welcome you to, feel free to contact me or anybody else on the board, and we'll have a good dialogue both ways. So thank you so
It's really
much.
great to be back.
Thank you. And say it again. Oh, Amanda's up and ready. Okay, Amanda. Aloha and Happy New Year.
Aloha, Happy New Year, everyone. Thanks so much. So I went through a few community updates. Regarding the parking on Leahi Avenue, we do have HPDA out there seeing no parking, just because we've been receiving sort of complaints on both sides from neighbors, from pedestrians. As we know, there's still an issue there, so we are working with DTS regarding some amount of parking for the gardeners and for ADA. Some on that. DPR director already touched on the Quay Lake Cliffs Kiavi tree issue. All the way driving range will be closing January 31st. The rest of the golf course will remain open. Wanted to update regarding the traffic accident at Pakia Noella that Ms. Ruby had mentioned, I think previously. Was out there. They painted a crosswalk. We had HPD doing enforcement out there during a couple of weeks in October. They issued 19 speeding citations, 8 traffic citations, 2 parking citations, 19 warnings, and 2 vehicles were towed. And then we have an outstanding request into Department of Transportation Services for in-street pedestrian crossing signs. So I'll update when there's more on that one as well. And then just a few working on Bill 50, street festivals and other activities. We hope to hear that one at the February Planning, Infrastructure, and Transportation Committee. I have to apologize because last month I reported that Bill 53 relating to special management areas was adopted, but it wasn't. I went back and checked it again because Matson had requested some summary highlights from that bill as well as 64. And it was postponed at the September and October zoning meeting. So that one is still alive. And I suspect that it will be coming up again with the new zoning chair. 64, as you know, relating to use regulations, the land use ordinance is very, very large. I did put a lot of information in the chat. There's 2 committee reports for that bill that provide a lot of the highlights or summaries of those big changes that occurred. I also just wanted to quickly mention we do have, you are aware, we have a new leadership team with Chair Waters. We now have Vice Chair Meyer and floor leader Radiant Cordero. We also do, as Member Nishimoto mentioned, have new budget being under Tyler Dos Santos Tam and Vice Chair Nishimoto. The zoning committee will now be chaired by China and vice chaired by Dos Santos Tam. Planning, Infrastructure, and Transportation Committee will now be chaired by Cordero with Vice Chair Okimoto. Housing, Sustainability, and Health will now be chaired by Vice Chair Wire and Cordero. Public Safety and Customer will now be chaired and Kia Aina. We have Arts and Entertainment, vice chaired by Tupola.
Amanda, you
Our
might want to turn
Parks
off
Committee-
your video.
Okay, there we go. Our Parks Committee is going to be chaired by Councilmember Tupola and will be vice chaired by Toba. As Councilmember Nishimoto mentioned, International and Legal Affairs will be chaired by Nishimoto and Wire, and then Executive Management by Chair Waters and Nishimoto. And then we have a new schedule out that I posted in the chat as well and sent to the board members with in a separate email. And so I know we're short on time. I'll wrap it up there and I'll take any questions if I can or report back next month. Thank you.
Yeah, just a request that what you put in the chat that Curtis is able to capture that and put it in our notes. And I did also, right before Councilmember Nishimoto's crew goes out, that if you could send someone to be with our meetings with DTS and Parks, well, especially DTS on the issues that we have, but the Parks Department too isn't the worst idea. Yeah, when those happen, and we'll send you
Yes.
an announcement, as well as
Absolutely.
Councilmember Waters' office.
Thank
Okay,
you.
and
Yes,
with that, are
absolutely.
there questions for Councilmember Waters' office? Linda?
Just 2 quick things. number one, you know, that lineup you just gave it, can you put that in Tommy's report? So we can see it all in writing? And the other one is, on Pule Circle, there's people from a certain Diamond Head Sands are parking on the circle and then going to get their mail. And it's a blind curve. You can't see around them. So you have to either go around them or they don't come back sometimes. They walk all the way down. It's like lasts more than 15 minutes. So they park on the street. Is there any way you can address that with the police?
Absolutely can do that. And then Linda, you were included on an email that I sent out earlier this week regarding the new committee assignments, and I'm happy to resend that to you as well.
Thank you very much.
Sure, absolutely.
Any other questions for Councilmember? I see Bruce, go ahead.
Yeah, I just want to make one comment again about elevated speed humps. They really reduce, I just came back from Maui and they really reduce people speeding. And so if they're gonna do any kind of a traffic reduction or speeding, the speed humps work. Same way they work on Pali Highway and on Kalihi Street. So I just want to bring that up. Thank you.
Thank you, Bruce, and please do come to our TTS meetings for traffic safety when they're announced. Are there any other questions for Councilmember Waters' office? Yes, ma'am.
Hi, Amanda. This is Arlene. I want to circle back to the question on parking on Leahe for the gardeners. And I'd like to express, I know you say that you've been hearing from both sides, the neighbors and the gardeners. I'd like to say that I personally have been harassed by a neighbor in his pickup truck who sped backwards, and I thought he was going to actually hit myself and another gardener. There was nobody parked on the street at that time. It was a Sunday afternoon. There were no children walking along the street. So I'd like to let you know that this is, I consider a very unstable individual. And I would like to get something done quickly as possible as far as allowing some of our elderly gardeners to park so that they can offload their heavy bags of dirt and things like that as quickly as possible so that this individual, who I believe is a little unhinged, doesn't actually hurt somebody that is working in the garden.
Okay, Arlene, yeah, thank you for letting me know, and I'm
Okay,
sorry
and
to
are there
hear
any other
that.
questions or comments for Councilmember Waters' office? Okay, Amanda. Yeah, the other thing I just want, if you can also look into it, and maybe there's some way we could make this a priority at DTS that's separate from the meetings we have with them, but Samo Rosman mentioned about that stretch, and we talked about it before, between Ho'olulu Street and Mo'oheau on Wynum. The street very narrowly and dangerously constricts, and there's just weird parking on both sides of the street. That whole intersection needs to be looked at, but I'll just leave it there in the interest of time. And thank you so much,
Okay,
Amanda.
thank you.
Let's just run through these pretty quickly. Anyone from Ed Case's office? If you are, then yell out. Brian Schott's office. Miss Hirono's office. I'm missing one. Josh Green's office, Governor's Rep. Ryan Aguilar. Okay. Next we have, I saw Senator Chang's office is here.
Aloha, everyone. Happy New Year from Senator Chang's office. I don't have too many announcements today. I'll put his constituent monthly newsletter and housing newsletter in the chat. I do want to share that the 2025 legislative session opening day is next Wednesday, January 15th. It'll be a busy day at the Capitol. You're welcome to come by, get some treats from our office as well as your House Representative's office. And if anyone has any questions, I'm happy to take it back to the office.
Any questions for Senator Chang's office? We will look forward to seeing you next Wednesday and throughout this term. Thank you very much for coming tonight, Angie. Next, I know that Senator Ihara is not going to be able to come tonight, and Senator Fukunaga, I don't know if you said she's not coming tonight. Okay. I think I saw Tina Nakata Grandinetti's name there. And so welcome to our first board meeting as an official representative.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm sorry wasn't able to be there tonight. I'm getting over a cold that just won't seem to go away, and I'm trying to get to 100% before opening day. But I do have some updates. Last time I came, I didn't have my committee assignments yet, but I do now. I'm vice chair of transportation. I'm also on the housing committee, and I'm a member of the finance committee. We are already hard at work in finance. We're having briefings. And I'm also co-convener of the Working Families Caucus. I've been really learning a ton and meeting with school principals, talking with advocates, working really hard to put together my bill package. Most of my package is going to hone in on my subject matter committees, so transportation and housing issues, which I'm really excited about. And I'm onboarding staff. Not all of them were able to be here today, but I'm really excited about my team. Emily Cristobal will be your main point of contact in my office. She's my office manager. She was unable to join today because she's participating in a fellowship with the Filipino Chamber of Commerce. But she left her role as a digital producer at Hawaii News Now to join the team and get more involved in policy change. She's super awesome and enthusiastic. So if you call our office at the moment, she'll pick up the line. I also have a second staff member, Sam Peck, who's my committee clerk. He previously worked in Senator Shimabukuro's office. He's very excited about community engagement and getting out into the district and staying in touch with District 20. And then finally, Keao Sprotholm. He is also session staff. He's my policy researcher and legislative aide, and he's actually been listening in. So I'll let him turn on his camera. He's a recent graduate of the Richardson School of Law. Keao, do you want to say hi?
Hi.
Yeah, so my office is a little bare right now, but you're free to come in anytime, room 304, and we hope you'll come say hello on opening day next Wednesday. We're going to have manapua and snacks and stuff, so hope to see you guys there. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much, Representative Grandinetti. We expect great things of you.
Thanks, Chair.
I hope you feel better.
Thank you.
Are there any comments or questions for the representative? Okay, well, seeing none at this time, we will look forward to robust engagement with you as the months unfold.
Thanks so much.
And congratulations again. Okay, and next we have Representative Sayama. Are you here tonight? Or someone from his office? And Curtis says no. And so a couple, Andrew Garrett, he has a tiny, tiny portion, but if he comes, I'll be amazed. But look at the maps really closely, and what the reapportionment, we got a little tiny slice of Andrew as well as Carol Fukunaga's. And Ikaika Olds, I think you are here tonight, so we welcome you, sir. If you're here, Representative Olds. Okay, next time we hope to see our reps. I think right now they are super gearing up. Like Tina said, she's trying to save her strength and get better for opening day at the legislature. So, of course, that's a very fast moving target. We're doing amazing for time. Where's that? Okay. So with that, let's move on to, I have a chair's reminder. I've already talked about it. Submit your candidacy for this neighborhood board. I don't think we have any board reports now, but as I mentioned, we'll have a Parks and Rec meeting. We're setting that up with some times as well as traffic and public safety. So anybody who's interested, please email me. It's my name at gmail.com. And it's also on the agenda or NCO site.
Mr.
Subdistrict
Chair,
1 report, Julia
Chair
Allen.
Welch.
The next St. Louis Heights Community Association meeting will be on Monday, the 13th, 7 p.m. at Hokalani Elementary School.
Say it again
At Hokalani Elementary School at 7 p.m.
at Hokulani.
Yep.
Okay. And so we do not have a sub-district 2 rep. Anybody interested in being sub-district 2? Okay. And for Diamond Head sub-district 3, Linda Wong, any comments?
I think I represented all the issues during the meeting. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Chair Welch.
Do we have any reports of board members attending other board and public meetings?
Chair Welch, point of order.
Go ahead.
I'm not sure you could hear me. Regarding the committee meetings on these issues, the specific issues that our committees are going to be meeting on separately from the board meetings. The first issue is Makalei Beach Park and Diamond Head Road safety issues. That would include the Traffic and Public Safety Committee, jointly with the Planning and Zoning Committee, jointly with the Parks Committee, jointly with Environment. That is my initial suggestion. I'd like to hear from the committee chairs on their interest and involvement in this joint committee first, and then who the members of the committees are, so we can ensure that they are notified.
Hi, Michelle. This is Arlene that's with the Environmental Committee. And yes, I'm very interested in being part of the Makalei Beach Park conversation. I'd like to, really discuss. I'd like to get a coastal erosion engineer involved and get some suggestions as to, rather than fixing the seawall, is there other viable alternatives to that?
Okay, but the first thing, the most immediate thing on the agenda that we have requested is Makalei Beach Park parking lot and the effects on Diamond Head Road public safety. And I think that Kendrick, I would like to invite him as a member of the Planning and Zoning Committee, planning as part of that parks proposal. But Arlene, regarding those two matters, is your committee interested in that? And if so, who are the members of your committee?
And we can add committee members right now. So who wants to be on the Environment Committee with Arlene? Kendrick?
Oh, I am. This is Angie.
Angie?
Yeah.
Okay, and I don't see any problem with having all 4 of those committees meeting together. We're not giving an official notice of a date right now, but when we do, we can say it's all 4 committees for the Makalei Beach Park Diamond Head.
Who is the
Road,
chair of the Parks Committee?
Okay, let's go on. So the Parks Committee is, I have Margaret Murchie and Dan Decker co-chair that, but Dan isn't here tonight. So who else would like to be on the Parks Committee with Margaret? And are you amenable to a very joint committee meeting, Margaret? Are you still here, Margaret?
I'll be on the Parks Committee.
Let's just assume that's a yes, but who is, I will be is who? Is that Angie?
Michelle.
Oh, Michelle.
Yeah, in the park.
Michelle, Linda. I think I'm ex officio on all of them. Is that
Yes.
right, Curtis? Yep. Okay. So Michelle, Linda, and Margaret and Dan. So anybody else interested on that one? Planning and zoning is Chair Mattson. She's already expressed her desire for the joint meeting. Are there others that would like to be on the planning and zoning committee? Is that a yes, Kendrick? Kendrick? Any others? And finally, traffic and public safety. Margaret is the chair. I think she would probably be happy to turn that over. Is that true, Margaret? Or are you like? She's not responding. So let's just say anybody else want to be on the traffic? I think Kendrick, you probably want to be on that traffic. And
I am
Dixie.
also chair. This is Angie.
Kendrick, Angie, Laura. Any others? Bruce Wong, do you want to be on traffic? I see Secretary Boydell.
Chair,
Or is
I
that just
don't-
raise your hand for a
Yeah,
comment?
I just have a point of information.
Sure.
Is there some limit to the number of board members who can attend a committee meeting? Is it up to seven?
What's the rule on that, Curtis? Committee meetings are open, but how many can be on them? I think a pig would have a limit, but I don't think committee meetings do they? I don't think they do. Who's our parliamentarian here? Maybe George West, you'd know. The Honorable George West. Can we have an unlimited number of committee members from this board? Can we have an unlimited number of committee members from the board that serve on a committee? Yep. To my knowledge. Okay.
You
So
can
we'll
also
take that
have
as a yes until we
residents.
hear it as a no. So right now
Chair
for
Welch?
traffic and public safety, Kendrick, Angie, Laura, and Margaret.
Chair Welch,
Yes, ma'am.
you can also have residents as members of the committees as well.
Okay. Yes, and maybe Samo is interested. And maybe you ladies as far as, right. So if that's true, then please let me know. And we do need to create an agenda and take meeting minutes. Yes.
Chair,
Okay,
to
then with
David's
that,
point, there is, I forget what it is, but there is something about the number of neighborhood board members at a meeting when there's a government official. I don't remember what it is. I just remember at a zoning
Yeah,
committee meeting at the council, they brought it up for different instances, if it's
I
a
think we can
continuous.
all be at a committee meeting.
Yeah, I forget what it is. I just remember there's some language between a presentation at neighborhood board versus the subcommittee. So we might want to look into it. I think we can attend, but there is something to look into.
Well, if we find that there's some conflict, then I will contact everyone. But in lieu of that, we'll just say that we can all go if we want to. Thank you, Angie. Okay, so and DTS has requested that we break up these meetings into about 3 different meetings. One only to deal with Aloha Bus. And then the others are, like safety in general in like the Kapahulu corridor, which is not exactly the park issue. And I don't know if we want to gather those together because one is very different about cars flipping over on Diamond Head. I mean, they're related, but so maybe we just have DTS there, but I think it deserves its own discussion time, just given the bad accidents that we've had. Yeah, we don't need people parking there. So, but we can ask DTS certainly to go to that and participate, but that they deserve their own time as well. That's, so we will massage this out and please
Chair Welch,
email
would
me
you
your
please
suggestions if you
clarify?
have any.
Can you please clarify which subject you're speaking of. Are you speaking of Macaulay Beach Park and Diamond Head Road? Because that would require both DTS and Parks directors to be present.
Yes, they
because
can both
of
be
the
present,
collective
but I'm just
issues.
saying that Diamond Head Road is its own traffic issue that needs to be focused on specifically by traffic and DTS and that committee. And Macaulay Beach Park is its own discrete
No,
park
no,
issue that
that's
also
not correct.
has traffic implications, so they both need to be there for Macaulay. And they can be at
no.
both ones. We can request them to be at both meetings.
It's
It's
going
not
to
a
be one
contradiction,
meeting.
but
It's going to be one meeting for Macaulay Beach Park and Diamond Head Road. It's public traffic safety issue with a park element.
I understand. So we will massage this out, Michelle, and have everyone come to everything, okay? But we are out of time. And so we almost got through. Everybody, you did a great job. I will look forward to seeing you here next month. So everybody have a wonderful rest of your month. And we look forward to seeing you back here. Okay, aloha. Meeting adjourned.
Aloha.
Thank you.